He ain't letting her talk at all. All right, give me a minute. I screwed up and dropped my. No, Trump ain't canceled me yet, Papa. That's funny though, because I'm not totally sure. That may not happen in the future, but no, he didn't cancel me. I'm screwing up with my own devices. That's what happened. That means, did Trump cancel you? Not yet. Not yet. Like I said, I'm not saying it won't happen. If he can get to Jimmy Fallon, and he can get to Stephen Colbert, and now he's threatening to do the same thing. Wait, he can get to Jimmy Kimmel. He can get to Stephen Colbert, and now he's threatening Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers. He can definitely can get to my crazy ass. So yeah, it sucks, and that is going to be probably one of the main topics we discuss tonight is your freedom of speech. Are we losing freedom of speech? Here's the weird thing. While I'm getting my other stream up, I want to ask some of you folks that are currently watching me on YouTube, because you're the only stream right now watching me as I get the other ones ready. Why is it that MAGA sees this so differently than the rest of the world? And when I say the rest of the world, I mean even people outside of the United States. I mean, he's obviously targeting his adversaries. I don't think that's even up for debate. Remember, he told Sean Hannity would not be a president of retribution. Do you still believe that? So we're going to talk about all of that. Let me get the and we certainly got some major issues going on in terms of global incursions. Russia is really at it. Russia is really doing shit. So Russia's acting up. There's like four. I got like four topics for you guys today. So it's going to be a busy day. Um, a lot has happened, for lack of a better way to, for basically that's what I'm trying to say is a lot has happened over the last few days. I was not live yesterday and the day before, and as a result, a whole lot of shit happened since. I don't know how that's going to look on air, but we're going to go ahead and try to make it so that one of these live streams works. One of our live streams is going to be horizontal, one's going to be vertical. Let me see if it starts. If it does, it's saying it has an error, so we'll see what happens. Nope, it's going to work. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start in three, two, one. If Facebook does it. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Depends on who you ask. A lot to talk about today. There's a lot to talk about today. A lot has happened. We have obviously not been on for a couple of days, and under Trump, news moves at the speed of light. And just because you're not on talking don't mean things aren't happening. Now, President Trump just concluded a press conference, and he covered a lot of the things we're going to talk about today. In fact, I think he covered all of them. And there's a lot to discuss. So let me go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna probably do these in reverse, because one of them is we're gonna go from minor to more concerning, more pressing. But nevertheless, like I said, there's so much here. This one here, I don't understand this, but I will cue it up for you guys, and we'll certainly end up talking about it throughout today's show.
Mr. President, you say President Putin has let you down. Have negotiations run out of road, and what are your next steps to compel an end to this war?
Well, he has let me down. I mean, he's killing many people, and he's losing more people than he's killing. I mean, frankly, the Russian soldiers are being killed at a higher rate than the Ukrainian soldiers. But, yeah, he said, let me down. I don't like to see it's death. It doesn't affect the United States. We have, other than unless you end up in a world war over this thing, you could. This was a thing that would have never happened had I been president. If I were president, it would have never happened.
Is there anybody that still believes that if Trump was president in 2020, Hamas would not have went into Israel on October 7th, and Russia would not have invaded the Ukraine? Are there people that still believe that?
It didn't happen for 4 years. People Most people agree it didn't happen, nor was it close to happening. And I spoke to President Putin about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. I've said that many times. It was. But he would have never done what he did, except that he didn't respect the leadership of the United States. They just went through the Afghanistan.
I mean, now he's saying that under Biden, Putin didn't respect the leadership of the United States. Are you seeing anything from Putin to suggest he respects the leadership of the United States now? I mean, Trump has threatened Putin about a half a dozen times, and Putin hasn't caved to any of those threats. Are you seeing anything from Putin, from Russia, to indicate they respect the United States now that Trump is in office?
For no reason whatsoever. We're going to leave Afghanistan, but we're going to leave it with strength and dignity. And we're going to keep Bagram, the big air base, that one of the biggest air bases in the world. We gave it to them for nothing. We're trying to get it back, by the way. Okay, that could be a little breaking news. We're trying to get it back because they need things from us. We want that base back.
But now that's the first topic. Did you hear that? Trump stated we want Bagram Air Force Base back over in Afghanistan. When we remember now, Trump is the one that negotiated with the Taliban when we left the country. Now, Trump negotiated with the Taliban for us to leave the country. And then, of course, Biden became president. The whole botched evacuation, 13 service personnel lost their life. You know, they were blaming that on Biden, which it happened under his watch. So I have no problem blaming it on Biden. It did happen under his watch. But there was never any negotiation under the Trump administration when they negotiated with the Taliban for us to, that we get to keep Bagram Air Force Base. So when Trump has said we want it back, how? We never made any deal with them for us to keep that Air Force Base. And I'll give you the obvious reason why I'm saying that. If we made some kind of deal to keep Bagram Air Force Base and we didn't keep it, you would have heard Trump bringing it up throughout Biden's term. You never heard him say that. So what is he saying he wanted back from?
By the way, okay, that could be a little breaking news. We're trying to get it back because they need things from us. We want that base back. But one of the reasons we want the base is, as you know, it's an hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. So a lot of things are happening.
Okay, so that's just our first topic. We got like 4 topics today, but I didn't want to get too much into this one, but it came out during his speech a few minutes ago, and I was thinking about it from earlier, but by way of yes or no, how many of you folks think it would be a good idea to get Bagram Air Force Base back? Now, keep in mind, he's saying it's in proximity to China, and there could be some tactical advantages to getting the base back, but that also means putting military back in Afghanistan. They don't like us in Afghanistan whatsoever. So anyone that is operating at Bagram Air Force Base is right back in the heart of terrorism. In the heart of terror. We're not liked in Afghanistan whatsoever. In fact, there was a hell of a lot of folks that helped America during our war in Afghanistan, and Trump has actually deported some of those folks back. So some of them folks have either been slaughtered by the Taliban or just have one hell of a grudge against the United States. Why would we put U.S. service personnel back in Afghanistan? Now remember, this is the guy that was going to get us out of overseas conflicts. It's going to be all about America first. Seems like we're getting in stuff. So we're going to talk about that going back to Afghanistan. Kind of reminds me of the old LL Cool J song. We're going back to Cali. But now this next topic I think is even stronger. President Trump, while over in the United Kingdom, was interviewed by Martha McCallum of Fox News. And she pointed out something that I think a lot of Americans were not aware of. I talk about politics quite often myself. I was not aware things had gotten this bad.
Fight against tyranny and fascism. We now have this situation where you've had 23 Russian drones go pretty deep into Polish territory.
Yeah.
Latvia, Romania also saying that they've had incursions. Swedish Air Force went up today into the Baltic Sea to chase away Russian fighter planes. What is Putin doing?
You know, I'm disappointed in Putin. I'll tell you, I'm very disappointed in him. I settled 7 wars at least, but I settled 7 wars, all of which they said were not settlable. And I got them done. And you know, the ones I want to, I'm not going to bore you going over a long list, but.
Now, you hear Martha McCallum tell him 23 drones have been into several NATO states. Estonia, Romania, Poland is involved in this. Obviously, they're at war with the Ukraine. Now, this is a guy who is saying Russia would have behaved if he won in 2020. They are now in more countries under Trump than they ever were under Biden, which is why I asked the question, why would anybody believe that Russia would not have acted up if Trump won in 2020? They're acting up more now than they did under the Biden administration. But in regards to what happened there, President Trump was questioned on this not long ago in regards to some of these drone incursions by Russia. And here's his response.
What's your reaction to Russian drone incursion into Poland?
It could have been a mistake. Could have been a mistake. But regardless, I'm not happy about anything having to do with that whole situation. But hopefully it's going to come to an end.
The first thing when asked about drones going into Poland, the first thing he does is give Vladimir Putin the benefit of the doubt by saying it could have been a mistake. This guy has been at war with the Ukraine for 3 years. Everybody in the region, Poland, Romania, I believe Sweden, now we got Estonia, all of them believe that Russia's trying to reestablish the Soviet Union, all NATO member countries. And the first thing he does is skip over NATO and say, well, you know, he might have been making a mistake. I'm just going to tell you, can you imagine how much of a slap in the face this is to our NATO member allies? Now, we've talked about this on the show before, and I'm going to reiterate, I'm going to state this again as we continue on. But, and by the way, tap the screen, get the likes on up to 10,000. We can make that happen if you let your thumbs not be lazy. This show is always MAGA friendly. It always will be MAGA friendly. It always has been MAGA friendly in its entirety. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. So it doesn't matter who you're criticizing, including yours truly. We're all about free speech here, and that's going to be a big topic today. But I had stated this before, and I'm going to reiterate this. Based on Trump's actions, it kind of makes me feel even more confident in what I said before, which is if Russia decides to attack Poland, is what I was saying in the beginning, but now that there's been incursions into Estonia and Romania, it's just spreading. But I stated before a few weeks ago, or maybe a few months ago, that under the Trump administration, if Russia steps into a NATO country militarily and gets out of line, I don't feel confident that the United States can be dependent upon in regards to Article 5. I do not feel confident whatsoever if any NATO member state invoked Article 5 that the United States under President Trump would do its part. Anytime the guy's already saying, well, it might have been a mistake, that means you're now not even necessarily going with the intelligence coming from your NATO member allies. And this happened before. This actually has happened before when Trump was president the first time. He was going against our intelligence, stating that Vladimir Putin was kind of a good guy at the time. Even then, he was putting Russian intelligence over ours. So there's just something, I don't know what it is. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments, but it does appear like for some reason, Trump does not want to do anything bad by Vladimir Putin in Russia. He's just giving them, he's made about 6 threats to them already. You know, he gave them 50 days if they didn't stop with the Ukraine. He saw nothing happen and he knocked it down to 10 days. He saw nothing happen and he invited them to Alaska, gave him the red carpet treatment, even applauded as Putin started walking toward him. Nothing came out of that. And he's threatened him a couple of times since. And nothing has come out of any of that. And President Trump just keeps making threats and not following through. Remember when Obama, back in, I believe, 2012, drew a red line in the sand, stating that if Syria did not if they did not stop using biological weapons on their people, America was going to be forced to act, and how the right really criticized Obama for not following through with his threat. Well, this guy's done it 6 times now, 6 times, and the right is kind of silent on it, but we'll continue in regards to that. But like I said, we're talking like they're now in multiple countries doing this. This one here, I think, is coming out of Estonia.
Estonia has accused Russia of an unprecedented violation of its airspace, saying 3 Russian MiG-31 fighter jets illegally crossed into its territory on Friday, September 19th, and remained inside for a total of 12 minutes. According to Tallinn, the incident marks the 4th such violation by Moscow this year, but Foreign Minister Margus Sakna described this latest breach as unprecedentedly brazen, warning that Russia's increasingly aggressive actions demand stronger political and economic pressure from the West. The violation comes against the backdrop of rising tensions along NATO's eastern flank and follows an incident just a week earlier, when more than 20 Russian drones entered Polish airspace on the night of September 9th to 10th, forcing NATO fighter jets to intercept and shoot some of them down.
And Trump's first thought was that might have been a mistake. 20 drones went into a NATO member country, and when questioned, you said it might be a mistake. I'm going to say, in regards to world affairs, that almost makes him sound incompetent. I mean, and I don't believe for 1 second that Trump is incompetent at that level. I don't believe he believed what he said. I think he was just trying to make an excuse. I mean, we got the best intelligence in the world. He knew damn well. I'm sure he was briefed. He knew damn well that those drones did not enter Poland. At that number, you got dozens of drones going in this country. There's no way all of those drones are doing that by mistake.
Suggested Russia was deliberately testing the alliance's readiness and resolve. And Estonia's government now sees the latest incursion as a continuation of that strategy. Tallinn formally lodged a protest with Russia's top diplomat in the country, underscoring that repeated airspace violations threaten European security and will not go unanswered.
So, and I see in the comments, someone said, what do you expect him to do? Well, if you're starting to do stuff like that, then you step up your game with Estonia. If you got to put U.S. service personnel, if you got to give them some sort of Iron Dome type system or whatever, it's a NATO member country. It's a NATO member country. They're flying over their airspace. I'll tell you, it is Belarus, which is one of Russia's best. Belarus is a strong ally of Russia. I bet you if you flew over their airspace, I bet you if Polish jets flew over Belarus, Estonia had drones flying over Belarus, I bet you Putin would do a lot more to stop that than what Trump is doing. I bet you that would not fly by Vladimir Putin because they got people on the ground there. I bet you it wouldn't go that well. But anyway, continuing on, there's a lot of news here before we go to the callers and things like that. Tap the screen, get the likes on up to 10,000 if you will. Sean, I see you there. You better pull me up. No, he would have helped Russia. Damn. So you believe that Trump might be more likely to help Russia than anything. So now I want to start talking about another one of the main topics of the program, and that is free speech. Obviously, I think all of you folks are aware that Jimmy Kimmel has gotten the axe. Hell of a lot of MAGA is celebrating this. This follows only a few months ago after Stephen Colbert, CBS, is also getting the axe. Now, with Jimmy Kimmel, a lot of folks are saying he deserved it because he made a statement that was out of pocket in regards to Charlie Kirk. Here's what I don't understand, and I'm certainly going to be asking guests this tonight. What I do not understand whatsoever. TikTok, you guys are slacking. Tap the damn screen, get the likes on up to 10,000. Here's what I don't understand. Now, they're getting Jimmy Kimmel because he allegedly claimed that the individual that assassinated Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson, whatever his name was MAGA. That's his whole statement. That's what they're getting him on, is that they don't like the fact that he suggested that the individual that did it was MAGA. What I don't understand is President Trump said it was a Democrat before we even knew who the killer was. And that was acceptable. But all of a sudden, this guy, I'm going to say mislabels Tyler Robinson, but I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure that, I'm not really certain what Tyler Robinson's politics are based on what has come out. But how can Trump accuse the Democratic Party of this before we even know who the killer is? And that's acceptable. But what Jimmy Kimmel did is not. And by the way, Elon Musk took to social media and said the Democrat Party is the party of murder before anybody knew who the killer was. How is all of that okay? But what Jimmy Kimmel did is somehow crossing the line. I don't believe it is. And I'm going to give you a clip as to why I don't believe what Jimmy Kimmel did is why they're getting rid of him. Stephen Colbert had his own show last night. As you know, he's on his way out too. I think he said it best. If I can get it to play.
So, no matter what they claim, this is not entirely about what Jimmy said on Monday. This was part of a plan. How do I know that? 2 months ago, when the president was tastefully celebrating my cancellation, he posted, "Jimmy Kimmel is next to go." How would he have known? Either Jimmy getting thrown off the air was his plan all along, or he was the one who stole that almanac from Doc Brown's DeLorean.
So he's using Back to the Future as a reference to make a joke. But point is exactly what he said. I mean, obviously, when he said Jimmy Kimmel was next to go, Charlie Kirk was alive and well, and he was already threatening to take him off. So I think that as opposed to getting rid of Jimmy Kimmel for what he said, I think they use that as an excuse to do what they already wanted to do. And in addition to that, he didn't stop at Jimmy Kimmel. Here is an actual truth, I want to say tweet, truth, what do they call it? Truth post or whatever they call it on Trump's Truth Social Network. This reads, "Great news for America. The ratings challenge Jimmy Kimmel show is canceled," in capitals. "Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done." It didn't have to be anyway. Kimmel has zero talent and worse ratings than even Colbert, if that's possible. Now, Colbert was in first place when they canceled his show, so he's wrong about that. But anyway, continuing on, he says, Kimmel has zero talent and worse ratings than even Colbert, if that's possible. That leaves Jimmy and Seth, the two total losers on fake news NBC. Their ratings are also horrible. Do it, NBC, President Donald J. Trump. Now, he's targeting these people. It has nothing to do with anything that happened to Charlie Kirk. He wants these guys off the air. So the thing about it is, once he wants you, then any excuse he can come up with sounds legitimate. But it's pretty clear when you listen to what Stephen Colbert said about a few months ago. He said Jimmy Kimmel is next. And the minute they got rid of Jimmy Kimmel, now he's on social media saying Jimmy Fallon is next. It's pretty clear that this has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. They're just using it as an excuse to do what they already wanted to do. And I'll give you another one, in my opinion, that literally confirms it. This is going to be a statement coming from President Trump himself.
Someplace that the networks were 97% against me. I get 97% negative, and yet I won easily. I won all 7 swing states, won everything. And if they're 97% against, they give me only bad publicity or press. I mean, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their license should be taken away. It would be up to Brendan Clark. When you have a network and you have evening shows and all they do is hit Trump, that's all they do. If you go back, I guess they haven't had a conservative on in years or something, somebody said. But when you go back and take a look, all they do is hit Trump. They're licensed. They're not allowed to do that. They're an arm of the Democrat Party. I read someplace.
So what is he talking about? Now, you got an FCC license that allows you to broadcast. What part of having an FCC license that allows you to broadcast says you have to be fair among the political parties? I mean, Fox News has an FCC license. Greg Gutfeld does a late night show. Are we indicating that Greg Gutfeld is just as fair to Democrats as he is to Republicans? This has nothing to do with that. But I just want you to hear what he's saying, because it's pretty clear what happened. What Jimmy Kimmel said to Charlie Kirk has nothing to do with what Trump is doing. Archangel, appreciate that. Thank you very much. Opening the program up with some support. JPT Farms, thank you for the donuts. Thank you. But that is pretty clear that Trump has it in for these people. Any excuse will do when the goal is already set. He has it in for these people. And there's numerous statements now to show he's already got it in for them. So I want to ask you folks, which is our second topic, do you believe free speech is it at risk under President Trump? Do you believe Trump, our president, is a threat to free speech? I hate to even be asking a question like that, but nevertheless, you're seeing what happened. Here's a quick third topic. Wasn't going to cover this, but I just heard it a little while ago. The H-1B visa. Now, you know, Trump has this Trump card coming out. I forgot how much you have to pay. Somebody let me know in the comments, but you can get a Trump card and it allows you to stay in the country. It costs a lot of money. But anyway, the H-1B visa fee, Trump has upped that by $100,000. It costs $5 million, King Finn, to get the Trump card. $5 million? Jesus. Well, he just announced today he just signed into law. I don't know how much it costs to get an H-1B visa before, but he just bumped the fee up for that $100,000. You tell me ain't no corruption in that shit. That kind of money being tossed around. If people are buying their way into the country, you ever heard of the phrase follow the money? So our immigration, if you thought the immigration system was corrupt under Biden letting anybody in, this is no less corrupt. You're just getting paid from the people. Who knows who may get in the country this way? But he upped the H-1B visa fee by $100,000. So when you hear this whole phrase about we don't have a problem with immigrants coming into the country, just come legally, this just made it significantly harder to do that. Significantly harder for people to come here legally. Extra $100,000 to get an H-1B visa. Last but not least, this one here is probably the most frightening, for lack of a better term. This one here to me, number one topic. This one is probably the most frightening thing I've seen Trump do. Probably his whole administration. Man, I don't even know what to say about this. I'm gonna see if I can cue it up, but it's frightening. I mean, when I heard about it, I was just like, holy shit. But this one here is nothing short of, this could direct our future in all kinds of dark, sinister ways.
The Antifa is sick and dangerous, and Antifa will be designated a major terrorist organization. He said, I'm pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster as a major terrorist organization. I will also be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa will be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards and practices. Thank you for your attention on this matter.
So 2 things on this. First of all, this is long overdue. It's not just an ideology. If you remember the Summer of Love, that was many of those people were Antifa.
And he talked about doing it then.
That's exactly right. And now he's back in the presidency. He's making it happen. They're domestic terrorists. They set things on fire. They assault cops, and there was no consequences. The second thing about this that makes it so important, now that they're a domestic terrorist organization, now you can go after the people that are funding it, the RICO cases. And many people have said, George Soros, let's evaluate him and all his Open Society and all of these organizations that are funding these underground groups.
Now, let me start out. We're going to start taking calls shortly. We're almost at 10,000 to tap the screen on TikTok. What's wrong with going after people that are setting fires and folks that are assaulting cops? That sounds like a good thing, right? MAGA's going to obviously cheer this on and love it. What's wrong with going after Antifa if they're doing all this wild shit? Well, the problem is, we gotta designate what constitutes as being Antifa. What is Antifa? Now that's where the problem is what exactly is Antifa? Now, what I did is I went to Google, typed in Antifa because we need to know what it is. Antifa is a broad, decentralized, anti-fascist political movement composed of autonomous groups and individuals. The term is short for anti-fascist, and its adherents oppose fascism, racism, white supremacy, and far-right ideologies. It lacks a central leader, membership, or official structure, operating more as a collection of ideas and tactics rather than formal organization. Now, obviously, his claim in regards to it's operating more as a collection of ideas and tactics are rioting, burning shit down, and looting. That's their tactic. But here's why this could be a major problem. Now, it says the term is short for anti-fascist. You know, the adherents oppose fascism. They oppose racism. They oppose white supremacy. They oppose far-right ideologies. Take away the far-right ideology, And I'm going to submit to you that this applies to probably 80-90% of Americans if you ask them. If you ask an American, right, left, independent, whatever part of this political spectrum you're on, if you ask them, do you oppose fascism? Do you like? Most Americans are not going to be in favor of fascism. That's a core tenet of Antifa. If you ask most Americans, do you oppose racism? Most Americans are going to say yes, even if they are happen to be racist. They're going to say yes, I oppose that. Same thing with white supremacy. It says here. If you ask even most white supremacist groups, if they're in a hot seat, they're going to deny that they favor that. Even if you ask, let's say for instance, you take the hood off a KKK member or you catch him at his day job. Do you oppose white supremacy, sir? You already know what he's going to say. So the reason why this could be really problematic is it kind of applies to most of us. I mean, you're probably going to be able to find statements from anybody that does social media, that speaks out, that has a podcast, that's a politician. They're all going to say they oppose fascism, racism, and white supremacy. So when you deem an outfit a terrorist outfit, which is what Trump has done here, deemed him as a member of a terror. Remember he deemed MS-13, Tren de Aragua, no due process. No due process once you're a terrorist. Hell, even Obama droned an American over in the Middle East that was working on behalf of ISIS. Once you're deemed a terrorist, no due process. You can take them out immediately. So the problem, same thing with the Venezuelan boat. You know, they believe that, you know, once he deemed the cartel as, you know, operating some kind of terrorist organization, now you can take out members of the cartel without giving them due process or anything. So the problem is now you can deem Americans as terrorists. Now he's talking about deeming Americans as terrorists. This could actually go towards anyone. And if you notice the way he worded it, I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster as a major terrorist organization. So really anybody on the left could be open season for this. Anybody on the right that does not like Trump could be open season for this, because they're all going to probably have said how Antifa feels. Even folks right, left, center, they're all against white supremacists. They're all against racism. They're all against fascism. So if he grabs you and says you're a member of Antifa, and as we stated before, you know, we're not giving terrorists due process anyway, what can you do? So I'm going to just tell you, this is dangerous. That's the way I view it. Maybe you guys can correct me in the comments, but authorizing or officiating that Americans are now terrorists opens up the door to the president to be able to do all sorts of things to quote unquote combat terrorism. Antifa do not walk around in specific uniforms. They don't wear badges. They don't carry ID. They don't have a headquarters. None of that. So literally anyone can be designated as a member of Antifa and fall into his web of you're a terrorist and whatever comes along with that. All sorts of special powers are given to the government to combat terrorism. We're thinking of Al-Qaeda and ISIS, not some dude that is pissed off that the police are not acting right. So now all of that's in there. Now, before we go start taking calls, one of the things I just want to say real quick is, after nearly a century of lynchings and firebombing churches, how the hell did the KKK escape this? I mean, is Antifa really in the news doing a whole lot of shit right now? Why did Antifa suddenly pop up? The Summer of Love is like 5 years old. Why is Antifa popping up? Remember what I just told you about Jimmy Kimmel. It's not about what the person is doing. It's about creating an excuse to go after who you want to go after. Antifa's not doing anything right now, but they're going to be used just like Charlie Kirk is used to go after Jimmy Kimmel. Antifa can now be used to go after any Jimmy Kimmel that he doesn't like. Anybody that has any Jimmy Kimmel-like qualities he don't like. This is how you create excuses to go after people you don't like. Antifa's not that big in the news right now. Why is this a major issue? I get in 2020 when they had the autonomous zone or they had Chad or Chaz or whatever the hell it was in Seattle. I could understand doing it then. Now, if you're going to go after a group for what they did years ago, how does the KKK escape this? Their past is significantly more violent and murderous than Antifa. And by the way, folks are suggesting that Black Lives Matter should be next. Let me go to the box. We'll start the program off in the comments. Why do you have pictures of grown men on your wall like North Korea? These folks are the leaders of our country. That's why you see the pictures of them up. They are the most relevant men in our country right now. There was a time when other folks were more relevant, and their pictures are now no longer on the wall. So that's why their pictures are on the wall. That's who runs our country. We'll go ahead and start out with the program. And like I said, this whole Antifa thing is frightening because it opens up the door to be able to do anything you want to do. King Finn, good evening. Welcome to the program, King Finn. Designating Antifa as a terrorist outfit, good or bad? Good evening, King. What say you?
Bad.
Explain.
Bad, because fucking MAGA, Trump, all you idiot motherfuckers who believe Antifa's from the left, y'all a bunch of fucking cowards and snowflakes. Fuck out of here, man. The KKK got away from it because the KKK is the same motherfuckers running the shit. That's how the fuck they got away from prosecution in this shit, because they was the sheriffs, the city councils, the mayors, and the governors of the fucking states. That's how they got away from that shit. And nobody cares because it's not them that's getting strange fruited and trees and shit like that. It's not their family. It's not them. They don't give a fuck because they can throw in that white sheet and run around on horses, set fires in people's motherfucking front yards and burn down churches and shit, and still claim they're Christian on Sunday. A bunch of cowards, a bunch of snowflake ass weak individuals.
I hear what you're saying, but keep in mind, the Liz Cheney's, or anybody that falls out of favor, even that lean right, could fall. Because like I said, when you look at the core definition of what Antifa is, that's most of us against racism, against fascism. You could even folks on the right who you're saying favor what Trump is doing. What is the guy's name? Ray Epps on January 6th? He would qualify. Because they threw him under the bus. He would qualify for this.
You know what Antifa is? It's red herring. Remember red herring off of Scooby-Doo?
Yeah.
The character they blame for everything?
Yeah.
That's what Antifa is. Antifa's red herring. So you run around and call red herring, red herring, you can call it whatever you want to. But the shit's actually being done by the motherfuckers that's calling for it.
So you can see it kind of like I am, where it does give you the ability to make anybody. It's kind of like you're looking for a wild card. So Antifa makes, it's like a wild card. Anybody you want to get your hands on, just designate them Antifa.
Well, hell, I'll probably be in Antifa next. Oh well, shit. I don't care. Go ahead and Kim with me. And for you idiots that's talking about, oh yeah, great, Kim will get fired. Yeah, Kim will get fired by the FCC. So when Kim will get billions of dollars and
oh shit! Hang on, folks. I had a call come. Go. Well, you're saying you think the FCC will wait a minute. Say that. Okay, you said he got fired by the FCC. That is pretty clear. But you think that Jimmy Kimmel's going to win a lawsuit?
Oh hell yeah! Kim already put in for his $1 billion suit. He could have sued the hell out of their ass. You do realize in his contract it said he can say whatever he wants to say politically as long as he don't say the 7 words. The 7 deadly words of the FCC and George Carlin said you can't say on TV.
What are
That's
they?
in his contract.
Give me. Don't say them, but give me some synonyms. What are the 7 words? It ain't like the F-bomb or something, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't remember what George Carlin said the 7 unsayable words are?
No, I probably saw the bit, but I don't. Obviously George Carlin's been gone for.
Let's start with shit. Damn. Trump said, "Grab him by the."
I get it. Basically no basically no profanity. Yeah, basically no profanity. No profanity.
Right.
I agree with you though. Based on what they took Jimmy Kimmel out, unless it's an all far right jury or panel, I can't see how he wouldn't win a lawsuit against ABC. Because like I stated, Trump said the assassin of Charlie Kirk was a Democrat before we even knew who he was. And of course, Elon Musk went to Twitter and said the Democrat Party is the party of murder, all before we knew who the person is. So I don't see how Jimmy Kimmel blaming it on MAGA is some kind of cardinal sin when they're doing that.
Hey, here's the problem. He did not blame it on MAGA. Did you see the show?
Yeah, he did. He did some kind of. Did he say?
No, he didn't.
Okay, give me the quote.
No, he didn't.
Okay, what did he say?
Fluffing.
Give me what. I can cue it up, but what are you saying he said?
Jimmy Kimmel only said it is really strange that MAGA is trying to distance themselves from this guy. In paraphrase, MAGA is trying to distance themselves from him. And that's what you got mad about? The end of the quote was that that MAGA's trying to distance themselves from him. And it ended off with a joke about Trump being upset about the ballroom not being built yet.
Yeah.
Where in the fuck is the problem? Is MAGA not actually trying to distance themselves from this guy?
Well, it's exactly what I just told you. The goal was already to get rid of Jimmy Kimmel, and they just made up some kind of excuse of what he said.
So again, red herring.
Yeah. I'm not arguing with it. But hang on, because you kind of schooled me on something, even though I heard it. Let me make sure.
It is so bizarre. It is so bizarre to see an American president weighing in so vehemently on TV shows. It reminds me of Reagan.
I didn't cue it up. I didn't cue it up in the. Well, yeah, I did. Did I?
That's Stephen Colbert. That's not Jimmy Kimmel.
No, this is Stephen Colbert, but he does play what Kimmel said.
Yeah, I'm about to say, play the actual quote. Don't play what somebody else said.
And they would. Okay.
It's very strange. It is really strange that he told the truth. He didn't really even add any editorial other than the fact he said MAGA is trying to distance himself from this kid. That's it.
Okay.
You salty about that?
I don't know if he. I don't know if he told the truth or not. Let me make sure I hear the clip, because now you got me dying to hear it.
Let's see what he said.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving.
So he did blame it on MAGA.
Is that the clip?
He said one of them. He said MAGA doesn't like you blame.
No. He told the truth. Are they not trying to distance themselves from this kid?
Yeah, but he said he used the phrase "one of them," so he's clearly blaming it.
You gotta see the hypocrisy in that. You know that's bullshit, cause you know damn well that boy was a fucking.
I'm not arguing. Wait, King. I'm not arguing the point of what he was. I'm just simply saying I'm arguing the point that Kimmel did indicate that the person that did it was MAGA.
All I'm saying is he told the truth. They are trying to distance themselves from him being one of them. The MAGA gang is doing everything they can to distance themselves from him being one of them. However the context you take it in, however you want to twist this shit,
it ain't twisting it at all.
Right now, he told the truth.
Okay.
Because they are literally trying to distance themselves from him being MAGA and trying to score political points wherever the fuck they can. He told the literal truth.
I'm just going to say the same thing to you that I've been pushing back on MAGA, because MAGA said he was a Democrat. I don't know if there's any evidence of who this guy voted for in the past. If he didn't vote for Trump, I don't see him as MAGA. And if he didn't vote for Kamala Harris, I don't see him as a Democrat. We can look at parts of his life and say he leans either way. But if he didn't vote for either one of them, I don't see him as MAGA or a Democrat. I'd have to see what he actually voted for.
Can I ask you something? Is Jimmy Kimmel binded by any law that says he cannot do editorials?
No.
Is he not a late show comedy show? Is he supposed to be real actual news? Because I don't look to Jimmy. I agree with you 100% there. That Jimmy Kimmel will likely win a lawsuit, because President Trump, as usual, he don't preempted himself by talking too much. And I mean, he's made it clear there's just way too much material out there from President Trump that he had it in for this guy to begin with. Certainly with this clip here.
I said the networks were 97% against me. I get 97% negative, and yet I won, and easily. I won all 7 swing states, popular, won everything. And if they're 97% against, they give me only bad publicity or press. I mean, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their license should be taken away.
So he's making it clear they should not have a license. He wants them off the air. I mean, that's pretty clear. And that's in addition to his actual Truth Social posts and things like that. So it ain't got, like I said throughout my monologue, it ain't got nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is just being used as an excuse to do what he wanted to do.
So again, where was the lie? I just want to know, where was Jimmy Kimmel's lie at? Because again, you just.
I don't think it matters if Jimmy Kimmel told the truth or told a lie. He had it in for him already. There's an overwhelming amount of evidence that says he already had it in for Jimmy Kimmel.
And we'll go back to the same point I made before. Jimmy Kimmel's contract says he can say whatever the fuck he wants to, as long as he doesn't say the 7 deadly words.
Yeah, I absolutely don't think that nobody's contract follows the pattern that Trump is talking about. They should have stuck to the whole notion that Jimmy Kimmel has an employer and he pissed off his employer, so his employer got rid of him, because none of us can, any of our employers can fire us if we say things we don't want to say. But by him stepping up and saying the guy's license should be taken because he don't made it clear it ain't got nothing to do with your reporters. It's us. We're doing it. So,
Tim,
yeah.
Tim, who's the FCC ran by?
Huh? Him.
Who's the FCC ran by?
Yes, it's ran by the federal government. Him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the government called and told the parent company of ABC, or one of the companies dealing with ABC, that they should fire Kimmel.
Yeah.
So again, we keep running down this stretch of road where everybody want to stretch Kimmel out, but you're doing it the wrong fucking way. Number one, number two, you're doing it at the detriment of this man's free speech. I thought MAGA was the party of free speech. MAGA is the party of the Constitution, and God gave us these rights. Well, it's full of shit. You a bunch of coward-ass snowflakes who need to grow the fuck up, because everybody's not kissing Trump's ass like Trump's sucking on Putin's nuts. Everybody's not doing that shit. And the moment that y'all keep making everybody do that shit, you turn into the cowardly cowardly snowflake, teabag ass motherfuckers that you is right now. Okay? Y'all bunch of pussies.
Well, I got Giovanni in the comments says this dipshit doesn't realize that Trump's what kicked off all the social media and the ballot, and they want to bitch and cry about it. So, I mean, he's suggesting, I guess, the liberals are in their feelings about this or something.
Trump kicked off social media? When?
I don't quite get what he. Listen, I'm totally fine with reading folks' comments if they're being critical, but I think the grammar of his comment made his comment kind of lost in the sauce on that. But
so it's another MAGA motherfucker that's incoherent and can't bring together an incoherent thought. Okay,
I'll read any comment from MAGA if it's if it's critical. I don't mind, but his comment is kind of lost in the sauce. He said, "Here's another viewer says I don't understand why people don't realize that you don't have free speech at your place of employment," which I agree with. He says Jimmy Kimmel was at work. If you offend someone at work and they go to your human resources department, you're going to get fired. How do you respond to that? And I agree with that comment. Go ahead.
Okay, well, you can say that if you want to. When Jimmy Kimmel wins billions of dollars and you still sitting at home on your phone like you are right now, watching the show, not making shit, be upset then.
Bro, I would be making shit if a few of you folks sent some fucking galaxies. But let me say this, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree with the comment the person said. But as I stated, if the Trump administration had just stuck to the notion that we ain't got nothing to do with it, Disney heard something they didn't like and they fired them, that would be one thing. But as I'm playing all these clips and Truth Social posts from Trump, it's pretty clear that Trump himself has something to do with it. That's where it's lost at. So the whole claim that he says something at work and anybody can get fired for something they say at work. Not when you got the president out here talking about people's licenses and you got the FCC guy talking about we can do it the easy way or the hard way. So it's pretty clear they were behind the scenes doing shit.
I mean, I agree with the fact that, yeah, you do have freedom of speech, but you don't have freedom of consequence of what you said. So right. I get that. I agree with that 100%. The problem is y'all doing it a snowflake ass way. And y'all stirring around like little bitches in the darkness, like little roaches, trying to make the shit stick. It's not gonna stick. It doesn't make any sense. It's just like the rest of Trump's policies and all his fucking administration. Y'all a bunch of hypocrites who run around in the fucking darkness like roaches. Do what roaches do, get stomped on. And when Disney gets done taking the flack from what the fuck they helped do to silence Kimmel, because it's gonna be a lot of motherfucking shit that go down because of this. Y'all will understand the truth. Stop fucking trying to infringe on everybody else's freedom of fucking speech and everybody else's liberties to make it fit your narrative, you fucking snowflakes. Anyway, y'all tap the screen. Y'all have a good night, man. I'll talk to you later another time, player.
Always a pleasure, Kingpin. Always a pleasure. No fluffing, right?
No fluffing. I might fluff a little bit after this, but I'll let Gangsta.
Oh my God, get the fuck out of here. Moving on with the program, by the way, tap the screen. Get the likes on up to about 25,000, if you will. This is a uncensored program as always. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. But yeah, I'm totally agreeing that look, you got free speech, but you don't have free speech from consequences. So yeah, one of my viewers is right. I believe might be MAGA. One of my viewers is right. They can fire you if you say things at your job that people don't like. But as I stated, Trump kind of throws that out the window when it's pretty clear that they're all over this shit. That, Trump is talking about people's FCC licenses should be taken if you're on TV speaking negatively of him. That is just flat out false. I think Trump and his administration has interacted on this or spoken out so much that I think it's kind of clear to most people that Disney didn't do this all by themselves. I think that it would be disingenuous to pretend like Disney just heard something they didn't like and they alone made all of these moves. And I think, once again, Colbert made something I want to play to you before we take the next call and get us on up to 25,000.
Oh, I'm being told not to answer that question. Further, coincidentally, Carr has even more leverage over the network because Disney, which owns ABC, also needs the Trump administration's green light for ESPN's deal to buy the NFL network. Yes, everything is about corporate relationships. It's hard to keep track, but remember, ABC is owned by Disney, which also owns Pixar, which is trying to merge with Twizzlers Pull and Peel to make the material that Lockheed Martin uses for the O-rings for their truck.
He doesn't take out some of the jokes, but what he is trying to say is that Trump has the ability to approve and not approve deals that are being made behind the scenes. And to get Trump's approval, he's leading these folks to fire people that work for them that he doesn't like.
Comments, they really sure seem like marching orders. And right after that podcast, there was an immediate reaction from Nexstar, which is a local affiliate media group that owns 32 ABC stations, and not, as I thought, how really drunk guys pronounce NASCAR. Nexstar said it strongly objected to recent comments made by Mr. Kimmel and would preempt the series for the immediate future. Coincidentally, Nexstar has a major merger coming up before the Trump administration. So a company apparently capitulating to the whims of the president in order to ensure their merger goes through? Has that ever happened before?
They're laughing because that's what got him fired. Is the Byte? I think it was ByteDance. There's two, Paramount and another company were merging. Paramount's his boss, and once again, Trump has the right to approve that deal. Keep in mind, the Washington Commanders, the NFL team, they're trying to get a larger stadium in Washington, D.C. Once again, because it's in D.C., Trump has the ability to approve that deal. And he was demanding that the Commanders go back to the name Washington Redskins. So any deal that Trump has the ability to approve, he's asking for stuff before he does it. I mean, he literally is asking for personal things that he wants out of this stuff. In this case, I want you to get rid of some of the people that work for you.
What's that? What? I can't. What? Oh, I'm being told not to answer that question. Further coincidence.
And then, of course, you've seen all of the other stuff that's coming up. Anyway, let me go back to the box. But I will tell you this, for folks who wonder if the Democrats win the 2026, if they win the midterms by a lot, is Trump going to get impeached again? My guess is probably yeah, for stuff like this. If folks that work at these companies are, made to testify before Congress, and they start stating that, well, before Trump would approve the deal, he wanted us to do this. He doesn't supposed to be doing that. He does not supposed to be telling private companies what they should and shouldn't do in order to get deals approved. He does not supposed to be doing that. So I'm just going to simply say that if the Democrats win the midterms, some of this stuff that we're talking about now, these folks, there's going to be all kinds of congressional hearings where they're going to be making these people testify. Because Disney, we know Disney tends to lean left. We know a lot of, they got The View and they got, Disney tends to lean left. And obviously the firing of Jimmy Kimmel, they're going to want a little bit relief from that because as my last caller was pointing out, and I agree with, Jimmy Kimmel's probably going to win a big lawsuit. So they're going to certainly want to admit, look, we would not have done that if the Trump administration wasn't fucking with us. I really believe that in the end, if the Democrats win the midterms, all of this stuff is going to come up. Anyway, looking in the comments, they are losing too much money for the networks. When you're paying someone $15 million and the show makes $45 million, I would fire them too, and they're also not funny. I don't disagree with you, Elwood, but the timing is awful. All of a sudden, you get a beef with Trump, and suddenly you're not profitable, and you need to be fired now. It ain't like Trump became president, and all of a sudden they just suddenly stopped being profitable. What's the difference between this time last year and now? If the networks had him on there now, all of a sudden Trump becomes president, and suddenly, oh, you really need to do something. This guy's unprofitable. They were totally fine with the guy until the guys had a beef with Trump. Once again, I'm stating I do believe that we're looking for reasons to do what Trump already wanted to do. Well, they weren't profitable anyway, so use that. No, the thing, I'll just ask it this way. If Joe Biden or Kamala Harris was president right now, do you think Stephen Colbert will be off the air? Do you think Jimmy Kimmel will be losing his job? The president wouldn't make him any more profitable. In fact, there's a whole lot more comedy to talk about with Trump as president than Joe Biden because you don't see Joe Biden on TV every day. You can only make so many he's sleepy type jokes. He's not on TV every day. Do you think that if President Biden or Kamala Harris was in office, Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel would not have a job? Because that speaks volumes as to what's going on. It ain't got nothing to do with Charlie Kirk or with losing money or any of that stuff. It's got something to do with the president of the United States. Let me go back to the box. We'll continue on, and we'll bring up Jeremy. Good evening, Jeremy. Trump is already the worst president in history. Damn, he can't get any lower than that. It's interesting you say that because some folks say he's the best. Jeremy, good evening.
Glad you missed me. How you doing, big guy?
I'm doing all right. Just hanging around like Jesse Jackson at a Klan meeting. So I'm asking, do you see it like many are suggesting that Trump is trying to silence comedians that don't favor him?
The thing is, I don't think we really know, but I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't. He might as well have just said, I'm guilty. He might as well have just said it because at this point, we probably will never truly know unless there's like some files released about him, like through a FOIA request. But to me, the timing is very suspicious.
Yeah, did you not just hear him here suggest that if you're being critical of the president, you should lose your FCC broadcasting license?
Play that again.
Give me a second here.
Someplace that the networks were 97% against me. I get 97% negative, and yet I won, and easily won all 7 swing states, popular, won everything. And if they're 97% against, they give you only bad publicity or press. I mean, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their license should be taken away. It would be up to Brendan Clark. When you have a network and you have evening shows and all they do is hit Trump, that's all they do. If you go back, I guess they haven't had a conservative on in years or something, somebody said. But when you go back and take a look, all they do is hit Trump. They're licensed. They're not allowed to do that. They're an arm of the Democrat Party.
What say you?
It sounds very suspicious. I will say the only thing that I think he was trying to hit on it was the idea that maybe they're being paid out by a particular party and when they're not supposed to be or something. Even then, that's like razor thin reasoning. Otherwise, it does kind of he's kind of saying, I'm not saying that I'm gonna shut you down, but you never know. Don't try anything. Wink, wink.
I think it's pretty clear that Trump's administration does what Trump wants them to do. So the FCC is part of his administration. The guy that's over the FCC, And that guy is on TV already saying that Disney could have done things the easy way or the hard way. And then soon after that, they fired Jimmy Kimmel. So, yeah, it's exactly what you're saying. You know, it's kind of like a mob boss saying, the family would be doing a hell of a lot better if my ex-wife would go away. Now, he didn't say do anything to her, but the family heard that. You know, the whole family
They
could
know
be.
what he's saying.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So
Yeah, definitely.
it's pretty clear what he's saying. You don't need to come out and say it. It's pretty obvious what he wants to be done.
Well, this is why when people say how can you be conservative and still say that you're not a Trump supporter, that's what I tell them. He's not very conservative. He doesn't stand on principles.
Now, you voted for this guy. Do you regret it?
Yeah, I've said that several times. Are we having this conversation for the first time?
No, because there's always new shit coming out. That's why I keep asking you. We weren't talking now we're talking about an outright threat to free speech at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Nice communist background, by the way. Anyway. Oh, come on. You knew that was coming.
Hey,
you knew that was coming.
Not a problem. But no, go ahead.
It's good. Good.
Okay. Well, okay, so you and I agree that this is definitely a threat to free speech. Now, another thing I wanted to bring up is he's talking about that we need to reclaim Bagram Air Force Base in Afghanistan again. Now, you know, he's the one that negotiated the deal with the Taliban so for us to leave. Biden became president, and during that evacuation, you know, it was a bad evacuation. 13 people died. That goes on Biden. That happened under Biden's watch. That didn't happen under Trump's watch. But the reason we left Afghanistan is because Trump negotiated a deal with the Taliban. Now, Trump is saying we need to get Bagram Air Force Base back when he clearly negotiated for him to keep it. So, do you favor putting American soldiers back in Afghanistan?
Only under a very specific circumstance that I don't think Trump is going to take. That circumstance would be if we completely suppressed the country and we gave them like a certain amount of time to get their shit together and to completely kick out all the radicals and unite the various different tribes to come up with ways to have a unified, a tribalistic government that doesn't infight constantly.
Why the hell would Afghanistan? Why the hell would Afghanistan work with us? They go completely against our set of values. They don't think like us. We seen what happened when we were there the first time. They don't want us there. I mean, what is the chance that Afghanistan is going to welcome Americans back over there? Not to mention a whole lot of folks that worked with the U.S., interpreters and things like that, put their lives at risk. They ended up getting they were on a path to getting, citizenship in America. And Trump has deported a lot of those folks back to Afghanistan, where they could be killed by the Taliban for being a traitor, or at the very least, they're hating the United States all of a sudden. Why would we put our soldiers in harm's way back in that environment?
Okay, so here's why. First off, when it comes to accepting some of our values, Kabul used to have nightclubs. That was actually a thing.
So did Tehran. I mean, Tehran was a great place to visit. So was Havana in Cuba. But those times are gone.
I know. I'm saying it doesn't have to be that way forever. Well, the other reason and why is because, let's be honest, we are the hegemon of the world. We have an organized economy, and they are extremely, extremely, extremely disorganized and disordered with the way their country and their economy is being run. We offer potential stability to the region. But here's the thing: I don't think Trump does. I don't trust Trump.
When does America ever offer stability to the Middle East? What do you mean by that? I mean, to me,
we've never tried in the Middle East. We've never tried to do it correctly. You got to understand. We have nation built before successfully. Look at all the Axis powers after World War II, including Japan. We absolutely decimated Germany and Italy. But we nation. There is some credit to say it. There is some credit to say that they already had stable, functioning governments beforehand, so we just needed to reinvigorate them and do some of that stuff. Hold on.
We nation build after World War II. We built nations that had the same line of thinking we did. They were already capitalist. They were already civilized. Their civilization aspect was very similar to America, so it's pretty easy to read. Afghanistan doesn't think like us. Like, for instance, somebody in my comments is saying that Afghanistan will be a tourist attraction when Trump is finished. They don't operate on capitalism. They don't want to live like that. I mean, the way we live, they've never wanted to live like that for thousands of years. So just like Gaza is going to be the Riviera of the Middle East, they don't want our way of life. Our way of life has a lot of pros and cons to it too. Drugs and rock and roll, infidelity with women. They don't want that stuff. Religion, freedom of religion. They've never wanted that stuff. So I don't.
The silent majority wants peace and they want stability. That's what something the U.S. and military force can offer them. But you want to know what happens? You want to know why?
Wait a minute. You said the silent majority wants peace and stability. Do you think the rest of the world, seeing what happens with our kids going to school and never coming home, see us as peace and stability? I mean, the marriage rate in America sucks. I mean, obesity is out of hand and drug use is out of. Do you think they really see us as stable and as you're putting it?
We actually don't have as much of a crime rate as people think we do. We are living in more peaceful times than ever before.
Yeah, but you didn't hear all the other stuff I'm talking about.
I
know.
Rampant. The school unalivings are.
I'm talking about rampant. I'm talking about rampant drug use. I'm talking about families being broken up in terms of the divorce rate is insane. There's all kinds of other aspects of American culture that these countries want nothing to do with.
Those are all solvable on other levels. I'm saying
we ain't solving them.
I know, because we're divided as a country right now politically. No. I'm saying it could actually work, but I don't want to get caught in this too much. I personally don't think we should go, especially under the leadership of Trump. I don't think he's the right guy to do the job. I think you would have to have someone like a Ron Paul or Rand Paul, I should say. What was the younger one? Which one is the younger one? The doctor?
I think
they're both doctors.
Yeah, one's Paul Ryan, I think.
No, not Paul Ryan. You're thinking of the Republican from Wisconsin. I'm talking about the two libertarian father and son guys, the Kentucky guys.
Oh, Ron Paul's the old guy. I don't know I can't think of the young guy's name.
I think Rand. Rand is the younger one. Yeah, someone like that would probably be better. But yeah, I don't think we should do it in the long run. Now. I know there's going to be a lot of salty people in the comments, and I like salt on my food.
Hold on, hang on 1 second. In the comments, Josh Bradley says y'all hate this guy. Why are y'all watching and commenting? Well, I don't mind the hatred. Like I said, I appreciate the criticism. Certainly, we don't all have to agree. So let the haters can comment too, and I'll even respond to some of them. So if they're speaking negatively of the viewers or even the host, feel free to do that. This is a free speech program. Go ahead and continue.
So, here's something I want to say about this. I think Trump, when it comes to what he's been doing lately in the White House as a whole, he's been using the memory of Charlie Kirk to run through policies that I don't think are good, and I think that needs to stop. Charlie would have never been in favor of using the FCC to censor free speech. It would have been more than okay if people just said, if the network said, "You're literally losing us money, Jimmy. We're just gonna say goodbye." You know what I mean? And let's be honest. All of y'all who are so upset at this, I guarantee most of you never watched Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon or Stephen Colbert. I think the last truly funny late night host was Conan O'Brien.
I don't know, Colbert. If you lean left, Colbert along with what is the guy that used to be on the show with him, the Daily Show? Jon Stewart. Those guys are very funny to the left, just like Gutfield is very funny to the right.
Colbert is funny when he's doing his fake Republican shtick, his parody of a right wing nut job. He's funny when he did that, when he did the Colbert Report as like a parody of a Fox News nut job. But the second that shtick went away, he just lost all of his comedic ability. I think the only one that is actually still funny that's still in the air is John Oliver.
I don't know. See, I have trouble with that because you lean.
And Bill Maher. And Bill Maher is good.
Okay.
Bill Maher, I actually like.
I have trouble with that because you lean right. So a comedian that is far left is never going to be funny to you. I mean, like you mentioned, you mentioned Bill Maher, for instance. You mentioned Bill Maher. Bill Maher is known for criticizing the left even though he leans left. You see him on Fox and things like that. They play his clips on Fox because he's known for criticizing the left and the woke culture. So I don't expect you to find Stephen Colbert to be funny. I mean, he's not. His comedy is not for you.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I laughed when he was making fun of conservatives by pretending to be one of us. That was his whole shtick, you know.
Okay.
He was acting like a parody of a nut job, you know what I mean, like a right wing nut job. That was funny. I actually laughed a lot at John Oliver. I think he has good jokes. I think he's one of the few guys actually he's genuinely talented. I can laugh at stuff and still disagree with him, be like, that's funny. It's just not factual. You know what I mean? I can do that.
All right, fair enough. I don't know. Like I said, a lot of in the era of Trump in particular, people's politics is gonna make a difference if they're, in terms of their comedy. I mean, if you like Trump, it ain't gonna be a lot of comedians that regularly criticize Trump that MAGA's gonna say, yeah, I like that guy. I mean, even folks like Bill Burr, who was an alpha male, he does a lot of comedy like that. They stopped liking him when he started criticizing Trump.
Alpha male? Bill Burr's an alpha male?
Hell yeah, all of this shit. He talking about hitting women back and shit. Hell yeah, Bill Burr was alpha male, talking alpha male shit. He was kind of like
I think he's like, I don't know, alpha male. I don't know if I would give him that moniker.
Okay.
I don't think he's quite earned that.
I mean, he's not going to be the kind of guy that's going to say, I don't know what a woman is type shit. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. He's that type of dude. He was, before he started criticizing Trump, the right liked him. The right liked him a lot. I mean, he pushes the line, huh?
I still like him. I still think he's funny. Well,
but you're kind of like the Back to the Future picture. You're looking like Michael J. Fox. You're fading out. You're not really right no more. Trump is not, you're not liking Trump.
Hold it. No, I will not take this slander, sir. How dare you? How dare you? Well, what do you think? I'm going to like Starbucks and getting my matcha and reading feminist literature and driving my Subaru with my lesbian best friend? What the fuck? No.
I didn't say you were full. I didn't say you were full blown woke.
No. You know what? I'm so far to the right. I actually believe that even in the case of rape, a woman should still have to give birth.
That's pretty funny. That's Charlie Kirk. There's a clip out there. There's a clip out there of a woman at a Charlie Kirk rally. She walks up to talk to him. She has it looks like a toddler. It's not a baby, a toddler in her arms. And she says that she was raped by her dad, and then she lifts the kid. She says, this is the product of it. And she starts talking about, she didn't choose to have an AB, and people are clapping. But that child she's holding, who looks to be about 3 or 4 years old, she's saying her dad impregnated her. And the Charlie Kirk supporters are applauding her for not terminating the life of that child whose dad is also his grandfather's. I don't know what to do with that. Why that would even be brought up and why people applauded that. I mean, look, I understand the pro-life stance. I'm pro-choice, but damn, that is
R.I.P. to the greatest man to ever do it. Rest in peace, Charlie. No matter what they do to you now, your legacy will live forever. And hey, you know what's great? I think. Yeah, Michael, stay mad at it anyway. I think that at the end of the day, years are going to go by and nothing like truly nefarious is going to come out about Charlie. I think that's going to old porn, or he was involved with, or he was like addicted to cocaine or something like that. And when nothing comes out and it turns out he was totally straight edge, it's just going to piss the left off more than anything else ever. I think take down everybody.
I do got to move it on, but I think the legacy of Charlie Kirk will be very similar to the legacy of, let's say, the Confederate flag. It's about pride and heritage to one group. The other group thinks it's about racism. That's, to me, what you're going to have people forever saying that Charlie Kirk loved everybody. And you're going to have, the clips he stated, the quotes that came from Charlie Kirk, they will forever live on. I got some long form YouTube videos I've started to post on my channel where, as opposed to just taking a soundbite, I play an entire debate from Charlie Kirk, and then we tackle it and ask folks, did it change your mind? I haven't heard any clip from Charlie Kirk where people who either like Charlie Kirk or people who thought he was racist or intolerant, after hearing a full context clip, said, you know what, I changed my mind. The people who think that he spoke the truth and facts, they believe it from the soundbite, they believe it from the full clip. The people who think he's racist, hearing more of him is not changing their mind either. So to me, he'll be just like the Confederate flag. Some people would think he's racist, some people will support him. Yeah, very divisive. Very divisive. All right.
The truth hurts, you know what I mean? See you around.
Jeremy, thank you. Says the truth hurts. Whatever, what the fuck ever. Let me move on the program tab, the screen get the light. A lot of lazy thumbs in here tonight. Is the subject matter that damn bad? Tap the screen. We should have been at least up to 50,000, but tap the screen, get us up to 40,000. The left hoped Charlie's death would silence him, and it amplified his voice and message. Rest in peace, Charlie, says Gen X. I don't believe that. I don't believe that the left thought that the death of Charlie Kirk would silence him. And first of all, I'm not even confident he was killed by the left. That's the first thing. That certainly is not a blue-haired liberal living out in southwestern Utah. That's the first thing I would say. The second thing is I talked to so many folks on the left that barely even knew who this guy was. I don't think the left was that concerned. I mean, they're more concerned with what Trump is saying. This dude going back and forth to colleges and universities, I don't think the left was that eager to silence him. A lot of folks on the left did not even know who he was. So I don't buy that they hope that his voice would be silenced or amplified. I think it's very similar to some of the stuff Trump is doing. You needed a hero, you needed a reason to unite against the left, and Kirk is giving it to you. You wanted to do this anyway. We would have to give a shit to Kara, says the fly insurance guy. His own people silenced him, says See Me. You sounded like Jimmy Kimmel. Let me take us all off the air. Tap the screen. It's beyond dispute he's a lefty. No, it's not beyond dispute. It's not. It's not beyond dispute. Okay, let me just ask it this way. What has come out about Tyler Robinson to make it beyond dispute that he leans left? I haven't seen. Here's what has come out about him. We know that he was dating someone from the LGBTQ community, and a couple of relatives of his said he was left or associates. I think his mom and parents said it. You know, that said he was starting to lean left, and I think a friend or somebody in high school said it. That's it. That's it. Is that he was hanging around somebody from the LGBTQ community, and a couple people in his life said he leaned left. That is all that is there. Now, I'm going to submit to you two things. First of all, in regards to him dating somebody that's trans. Well, here's a picture of him on screen. That ain't something that a lefty does, holding a rifle at a young age. I mean, and there's many of them. Here's a couple pictures of him on screen holding carbines at a young age. That ain't something a lefty does. If you want to bring up he was dating someone trans, you got to bring up the also. Here is him there. I think he's holding a rocket launcher. There's another picture of him. All of these were on his mom's Facebook account. Once she found out people were taking these clips, she deleted all of this shit because it kind of goes against what she's telling people about her son. Here's him. Looks like he's operating a 50 cal. That don't look like a devoted lefty to me. So other than him being with a trans, which is why they keep saying trans, there's nothing in his life to say he's trans. Now, in regards to his parents and associates saying that he's been leftist or whatever, since when did parents and associates giving you some type of judgment about a guy become the gold standard? You got a whole lot of women, or better yet, you got people in Trump's family that have spoken negatively against him. Pete Hegseth's very own mom said all kinds of awful shit about him. You didn't buy that. Kennedy's whole family don't like him. You're not buying any of that. So why are you buying it when it comes to Tyler Robinson? Other than you like it on Tyler Robinson, you didn't like it on Hegseth, Kennedy, or Trump. So you can't even really use their family are saying things because a lot of folks you support also have family that said shit and you dismissed it. So the only thing you have is that he dated someone that was trans. And in regards to that, I will submit to you, the right makes it clear. We're not homophobic. We're not white supremacists. We don't hate anyone. That's what MAGA and the right says all the time. Leading to the obvious question. If you don't hate anybody, then why do you automatically assume somebody dating trans has to be left? You don't have a problem with trans, remember? So he could be MAGA. The transgender roommate could be MAGA as well. You don't hate them, so why are you automatically assuming they're left? Like I said, I don't see enough in this guy's past to make a definitive statement that he leans left or right. And I don't know what his voting record is. I don't see enough of it. But in the comments, Alan Gracie says, you lost all credibility. Well, because I don't think like you, my credibility is shot. If I thought exactly like you, my credibility would be great, huh? I don't think that gains you any credibility by making that statement, but I appreciate the input. Hey, that's true, but it's most likely the case. I would be more willing to agree with that, Kevin. That is most likely if you're transgender, you lean left. I would agree with that. But there is a reason why most trans people are left. And it goes against the statement that the right don't have a problem with them. Most trans people will tell you that shit's bullshit. You do have a problem with us. That's why they lean left, is because they don't think you like them. Let me go back to the box. White Rose, good evening. Welcome to the program. He is a liberal. I can bet my life on it. I would be, hold on, hang on a second, Rose. I would be, if I was forced to bet, doesn't matter. Your name says he's a liberal. I bet my life on it. I would probably be more closer to your thinking, but I'm not certain. To me, there's not overwhelming evidence that this guy's liberal. White Rose, good evening.
What's up, Papa?
Not much at all.
What's going
on? We're covering a host of subjects, but I want to ask you about something else that we haven't talked about as much recently. Trump has just deemed Antifa as a terrorist outfit. What say you? Terrorist organization.
You know something? Antifa hasn't been active for the last 5 years. Antifa does no longer exist. Antifa doesn't have any kind of structure, any kind of base, any kind of offices, any kind of leader, right? This is just Trump trying to consolidate power, and he's saying, well, I'll make every liberal Antifa and they're going to go after them, and he's already attacking free speech. I mean, what is there more to see? This Jimmy Kimmel bullshit, it's an attack on free speech. If you don't see that, then you're blind.
Wow. Well, you got a lot of MAGA that are saying it's not an attack on free speech. They're saying, look, you work for Disney. Disney has a right to fire you if you say something that they don't like.
For saying something simple. It's not like he said, it's not like he came over and he said something so terrible that they have to get him off the air. He said something very simple. The right is accusing the left of this assassination, but they won't take credit that this guy may be a right-leaning person. That's all he said.
Yeah.
That's all he said.
Well, he basically said it was MAGA that did it.
Well, Trump is a very thin-skinned person. I don't even know what to tell you, but he's thin fucking skin as fuck. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He wants to silence his political enemies. He sees the left as all his political enemies. He sees the so-called leaders of the left as so-called enemies. So, this is what dictators do. Dictators come over just like Putin. They silence people so they can consolidate power.
So you do believe, and you said that's what dictators do. So you see Trump as trying to be a dictator.
Yes, I do. I do.
Well, other than your claim that he's trying to silence his adversaries, what has he done to make you feel like he's trying to be a dictator?
He has thrown almost everything at the Constitution, trying to see how far he could freaking go, how many laws he could violate before somebody stops him. He has the Supreme Court, so the Supreme Court is rubber stamping anything he does. Anything. Okay? If he was to come over and to shoot somebody in Times Square, they wouldn't care.
You think
it's true what he says.
You think the Supreme Court? You think the Supreme Court is in his pocket that much?
Yes. Yes, you see that they've been voting against everything. They've been voting against everything liberal, and anything that Trump wants, he gets from them. No ifs, ands, or buts. The Supreme Court is lost. The Supreme Court is a total disaster.
Well,
at least for justice and liberty, there is no justice and liberty in America no more.
Well, at
least not for us liberals.
Let's be clear. If what you're saying is true, where Trump is trying to be a dictator, dictators don't need the Supreme Court. So if what you're saying is true, why don't the Supreme Court realize that eventually he's going to get rid of you too? Then, if he's trying to be a dictator.
Because he wants to make it seem, dictators take over governments not quickly. In the 1930s, the guy with the mustache, he didn't come over and he didn't say, "Oh well, I'm gonna off 10 million people." He did it slowly. He enacted laws slowly. He took over the courts slowly. He took over the police department slowly. It was a process, and this is the same thing that Trump's doing. He's going through the process, but there's going to come a time before his term is out that something's gonna happen and he's gonna say, "I'm not leaving." That's what I feel. He is not going to leave. He's not going to leave.
You
And if
do
he
realize
does leave,
Trump is like 80 years old, basically. You expect him to try to do a third term? I mean, he'll be like 83 years old going into that.
yeah. Well, he has people around him like Stephen Miller that you know.
Here's my take on it. My guess is, if Trump did want to stay in power eternally or something like that, I think he would be more likely to try to put in a proxy, somebody that's going to pretty much do his bidding. And he don't have to be the official president, but he know they're going to do whatever he wants. He can then just hold a rally every 2 or 3 months, make sure that person knows that MAGA's still on his side. But he wouldn't have to, do all of the stresses. I mean, 83 years old is a hell of an age to be doing a whole nother term. That means from 83 to 87, he would be trying to be president.
No, I agree with that. J.D. Vance may be his heir. One of his sons may be his heir. Some wacko freaking MAGA may be his heir. You don't know.
Wacko freaking.
It's like.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. What you saying?
No, I just heard you say wacko freaking MAGA might be his heir.
I mean, you don't think that he is trying to consolidate power? You don't think that he is throwing everything at the Constitution? I may be wrong. I may be like 100% wrong. But this is what I'm seeing on a daily basis. A daily basis is something fucking new. It's like we're getting this constant shit from the White House that we have never had. We have never had issue after issue after issue, and the president constantly on TV. It seems like he's on TV every 2 days.
Well, some of that is a good thing, though, I'll tell you, White Rose, because, they were saying Biden was sleeping in his basement and things like that. You do kind of want a politician, a president that talks to the people. You want somebody that's going to be transparent. I don't think he's doing that. I don't think he's being truthful some of the times when he's on TV. But having a president that's willing to do interviews and talk to the people, that kind of can be a good thing.
Yeah, if he was talking the truth to the American people.
Yeah, that's what the thing
instead of bullshitting us.
Yeah, if you're on TV. Yeah, if you're on TV every day talking to the American people and you're being honest, that's a good thing. The more we know about the presidency, the better. But yeah, if you're just making up stuff, talking about the 2020 election was stolen still and stuff like that, I don't know how it furthers the narrative at all.
Yeah. I mean, let me give you a for instance. There's 350 million people in America. He said 300 million people died of fentanyl.
Yeah.
You heard that, right?
Yeah, I played.
Is that a lie or is that the truth?
Yeah, it's clearly a lie.
Half of our country's junkies?
Yes, obviously.
Half of our country's junkies?
Yeah, and that's where the problem is that I like the fact that Trump goes on TV and holds these marathon interviews and talks to the people. But yeah, if you're just throwing out wild statistics like that everybody know are not true while you're saying it, it really don't. I mean, look, hearing you talk for 2 hours, if a half hour worth of it is not true, that's not a good. Like talking about Biden stole the 2020 election, that still regularly comes up. There's zero value to that to bring that up now.
It's totally crazy. I mean, if he was coming over and he was like, okay, listen, if he was telling the people truth of the economy is in trouble. Okay, there is no way that the economy is not in trouble when we have 4.9% unemployment rate, 2.97% because it just rose, inflation rate. We're in serious trouble here, and his MAGA, and he's saying that we're in a golden age. Where are we in golden age when people are getting laid off left and right?
I would want to know, because he does say that. I would want to know what is his definition. That's what somebody in the audience chat. What is your definition of the golden age? You keep saying that. Because I don't know what that is. I mean, I don't know what he means. You're right. The economy is not reminiscent of the golden age. Our what do you call it? Our position as a superpower is not reminiscent of the golden age. I don't know what he means by that.
I don't know what he means about that anyways, because listen, nobody's making money. Nobody's making money at all.
Well, some people are. It may not be you. No, I don't buy that. I mean, the guy's got his own cryptocurrency. I mean, the guy was telling people when to buy and sell when he was imposing tariffs. People are making money. It just ain't you and me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But the average American is not making money. The middle class is not making money. The middle class right now is stagnant. They're stagnant, especially with these numbers. There's no way that our middle class is okay. And without the middle class, we're fucked.
How about
Simple.
this?
Our middle class is the backbone of our economy. If they get screwed, we all get screwed.
That is true. How about this now? It's still kind of crazy, but convicted felon in the comments says the golden age is mother and father both in the home, a nation under God. What say you?
That's bullshit. You know what a golden age? A golden age.
Why you say that?
I know a little bit about history, so let me tell you what the last golden age was about. The last golden age was that everybody was working. There was money flowing in the economy from all sorts of people. We were inventing new stuff. We were freaking looking into the future. We're not doing that right now. We're stagnant. We're stagnant. There are other countries around the world who are still doing investments in cancer research. We just cut cancer research. There are other people who are doing investment in other technologies. We're not doing shit. What we're doing is we're cutting everything. And I don't know what for, because it's stupid.
It's got to be some kind of method to the madness. But you're right. Trump took power, and you've seen Elon Musk with the chainsaw. That's been their method of operation since becoming since the Trump administration came back. Is just to really just cut and chop and slice and dice everything, jobs, programs, you name it. I don't know what that method what madness to the method there is yet, but yeah, you're right. Cutting everything has been their way they've been operating.
Yeah, no, it's totally crazy. I mean, especially with cancer research. How can you cut cancer research when there's tons of money? Besides there being tons of money in cancer research, there's tons of lives to save. So why would you do that? And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I don't understand
why
that.
Cut investments in research and development, and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Well, maybe somehow, some way, I guess they believe maybe in some of those programs there's waste, fraud, and abuse, or like with the COVID vax, I see that Kennedy has now made it so none of the vax will be recommended at this point. So I guess maybe they think that there's some kind of corruption or something in the way our medical facilities are ran.
That's crazy. I don't know what to tell you. We're not doing good, and I don't know. Well, I'm gonna let you go, but I'm gonna end it with this, right?
Sure, go ahead.
When it comes to Charlie Kirk, right?
Mm-hmm.
The right was looking for a martyr, and they got one.
They were looking for a martyr, and they got one. I agree with that. That's the same thing I said about Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, his comment. They were looking for a reason. And anything would work. The same thing. They're looking for a martyr. Anybody will do. And here comes Charlie Kirk getting assassinated. I do agree with that. I actually do agree with that. Something. And listen, you got to give them credit. It's really unified. And Democrats don't seem to have anywhere near that kind of unity.
No, we don't. I don't know why, but we don't. Anyways, my brother, thanks for letting me up. Have a good night.
Anytime. Appreciate it, White Rose. Rest in hell, not peace. That's what you're saying, Sean, to Charlie Kirk. Damn. Gen X ain't shit. I see that also. Sean Herbert we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're also on YouTube, and of course TikTok. Feel free to follow any of those if you enjoy this type of dialogue from all sides of the aisle without anybody being blocked, banned, or censored, because this is free speech. Feel free to follow the program, give your boy a sub, if you will. Get your health in order and stop stressing. In this environment where nobody's getting health care, the Great Divide, lots to read in history about that. All right. TSLA, I don't know what you mean by that. Flea Fluff, $40 to $60. Okay, you guys are talking about some crazy shit. The party of compassion is delusional to their neighbors. It's clear you never, ever, ever talk or empathize with your neighbors. Shit, who is the party of compassion? And whichever party you consider the party of compassion, what is the other party? The one that lacks compassion? I don't know where your comment is going, but none of that sounds good. Can we just take a moment to acknowledge that we are all human beings above anything else, no matter what your identity or affiliation is? We all deserve respect. I like your comment, Bratcher, but we've never done that in America. We've never treated all human beings like they all deserve respect. We've always had classism, sexism, racism, difference between the cultures or ancestry. I mean, we've never done that in America. I like the way it sounds, but that is just not how we were founded as a nation. Thanks respectfully, though. You don't just see Ninja in the comments. Oh my God, Teddy Owens says. Now Teddy is thanking me. Says thanks respectfully. Even he's thanking me because I don't just see ninjas in the comments. We can't have a discussion as adults. So he likes the fact that I'm not just reading the comments from ninjas. Wow. All right, listen, I do believe in letting everybody speak. You didn't have to throw the ninjas part in there. Damn. We're made to care about racial divide, so we ignore the class divide. I don't think well, to some degree. To some degree. And listen, me personally, I believe that if you're wealthy, you want to keep your income, you don't want to share, or you don't want to be forced to share, you should vote Republican. The Republican Party is far better to people of wealth. I mean, the Democrats obviously believe in a lot of social policies and shit like that. A lot of the funding from that not only comes from the middle class, but it also comes from the wealthy. I'm wealthy. I got my money whatever way I got my money, I want to keep it. I don't want to be forced to share with any damn body. I don't want to have to pay my employees a minimum wage increase, or I don't want to have to give them health care. I want to vote for a party that ain't going to force me to do it. They're trying to unionize. I don't want them to be able to unionize. The Republican Party is going to defend all of that. So I do believe that if you're wealthy, you probably have more reason. If your bottom line is your primary concern, it makes far more sense to vote Republican than Democrats. White people could be rude and call us ninjas in the Lamos terms, but I like to hear your opinion, Teddy. All right, thank you. All right, let me go back to the box. I don't know that the numbers on this thing is low as hell. We may have to end this one because I don't know. Either the subject matter sucks or it's just not a lot of folks tapping the screen. We should be 70, 80,000. The likes are low, everything. So maybe this is just a bad show today. How can you be talking seriously with Fox News in the background? Is that your source of information? No, it's not the only source of information. I post information from everywhere. John Luke de Marina. Let me just say it like this. When we're posting information to talk about what's going on in the days and things like that, and I'll go to the box right after this comment. I'm generally, if I'm telling you something that Trump said, I'll post a video of him saying it. I don't care if that video is on Fox, CNN, or MSNBC. It doesn't matter the network because you're seeing it coming out of his mouth. The Fox News clip I'm playing, which I want to talk about this right now, it doesn't matter that Fox leans right or if it was on MSNBC. They're simply reading off what Trump posted.
Designated a major terrorist organization. He said, I'm pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster as a major terrorist organization. I will also be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa will be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards and practices. Thank you for your attention on this matter.
So it doesn't matter where you get that from. That's coming from the Trump account. I will tell you this. I think it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous to go after Antifa, but I want to hear from you folks. Going back to the box, a Republican runs for office, makes tons of promises, accomplishes none, takes us 10 steps back. A Democrat runs for office, makes a bunch of promises, takes us 2 steps forward. Rinse and repeat, says Sean. Wow. All right. Going back to the box, Mike, good evening. Welcome to the program. Antifa, a terrorist outfit. What say you, Mike? Good evening.
Well, it's just a distraction. It's other bullshit. And Antifa has never been an organized group.
Is it anything to be concerned about?
Well, the concern is that I told you this shit a long fucking time ago. He was going to weaponize. He was going to use his executive orders to go after the people he really wants to go after. I told you this, Tim. I've been damn near right. I've been right about everything, but I've been right about most of this shit. I told you. Once he started going after the Mexicans, he's going to turn and start going after other people. And that's exactly what's happening. Because, see, this allows him, first of all, I don't think it's going to pass the legal test, frankly.
Yes. Appreciate that, Corey.
He has to deem a domestic T group, and he has to have proof of their organization, their motives, their actions, all the things you have to be able to present.
Shit, he ain't proving. He blowing up boats in Venezuela. He ain't proving shit. I mean,
I understand. I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying from the court's perspective. I'm not saying that they're going to stop doing what they're doing because they haven't all this time. But they're not an organized group like you said, like the 3Ks or the Proud Boys, or I mean, which is funny how nobody's talking about them. They were labeled by domestic T groups by the FBI, Department of Justice, 5 years ago.
Yeah, but the reason why ain't nobody doing it is because in his message, he makes it clear. He says, I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster as a major terrorist organization. So the reason he's not going after the Proud Boys and the Triple K, he makes it clear my goal is to go after the left. He says, I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots. You know what patriots? So he's telling his side, I'm going after the left.
Again, what is a patriot supposed to be versus what do they consider it? Here's the thing about this. The right, the racists, the supremacists, their supporters, they buy into how he is basically changing the English language, literally designating things the way they want to designate it and completely changing the narrative of what a word actually means.
Yeah, but you know the pushback, Mike. How can you accuse the right of changing words and shit like that when you got the left telling somebody that your pronoun is they? I mean, the right is doing it. The left is doing it too. You know, a woman can be I can become a woman. The left is doing it.
They're not changing. Hold on, Tim. The pronouns haven't changed.
Oh, shit.
Hold on, Tim. Hold on. Has they always been a pronoun, they?
You have never used they in a singular vernacular. That's never happened before.
I'm not disagreeing with you about that. I'm saying that because I don't disagree with you at all about that. I've struggled with that. What I'm saying is it's always been a pronoun. It's always been a pronoun.
No, they're changing the definition of it. How about that? They're changing it just like the right is changing the definition of a patriot to mean you got. Hold on, the right is changing the definition of a patriot to mean you got some kind of conservative religious views. The left is changing the meaning of they to mean it can be used in a singular form.
Again, they're changing how people identify to the pronoun, but the pronoun itself hasn't changed. It's still they.
Well, patriot is still patriot.
But it's not. That's my point. Just like DEI is not. DEI is a different definition by the right. Woke is a different definition from its origin. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And again, you're not going to get pushed back from me because I have my own views about that. But the idea, they're going after and targeting who they want to target. But it's funny to me, Tim, because we're talking about this. But everything that they complain about, and again, if the right is winning, what are they so angry about? You got Congress, you got the Senate, you got the DOJ, you got Homeland Security, you got everything. What are you complaining about? What is white America so angry about? You got everything.
Because the part of the winning is the target shooting. Part of the winning is being able to take out liberals. Let me just put it this way. If it wasn't for Trump going after all of the anti-conservative, anti-patriot, anti-Republican groups, they wouldn't feel like they're winning because obviously the economy is not getting better. Obviously, you're not seeing Russia or the Israeli, Hamas thing. I mean, this is an area where he's winning at. The only other area he's really winning at, okay, he's gotten rid of, he's doing good on the border. But other than that, most of his victories are going at the people that the right don't like. You're controlling, the integrity of women's sports, so you're going after the LGBTQ community. You're getting rid of these immigrants, so you're going after the immigrants. You're starting now to talk about going after crime in, cities that feature a lot of minorities. It's really just a bunch of going after the people they don't like. That's what consists of most of the winning.
And again, which is my point. It wasn't an agenda or a campaign for all Americans. It never was. It never was.
Did he claim that?
Now we're seeing.
Did he ever claim?
No. He didn't. But his followers did. His followers tried to sit up here and say, "You're taking that out of context. He really means all that bullshit. all that dick tugging that we've been listening to for 5, 6, 7 years. Now all of a sudden, what we're saying, then they're still making excuses for it. He hasn't done anything for anyone other than himself in his circle. Not poor white folks in this country. Think about this, Tim. By the way, that second suspect that they arrested and they let go, the one that they detained, not the old man,
right?
The other one, Ahmed Qureshi. I think that was Ahmed Qureshi.
What happened?
The irony that they detained him. They put all of his information online.
Oh,
he's been getting, unalive threats. Yeah, he's been getting unalive threats since. But why did they detain? See, that's what his punk ass gets for being there. Yeah, that's what his punk.
So
ass
he got the Ray Epps treatment. He got the Ray Epps treatment. You can be thrown under the bus anytime. Appreciate that, Jax. Thank you, CN. Appreciate that, Panda. Shout out to you. But yeah, that's the thing is, if you can support Trump, but if things go wrong, it could go really wrong.
It can go really wrong. And you had somebody talking about this whole Jimmy Kimmel thing and all the comments.
Right.
And it's talking about he lied. And this is the thing, Tim. When I hear the right talking about an on-air personality lied about something, I feel like slapping all of them one by one because they listen to Fox News lie damn near every day.
Mm.
You played a clip earlier when they were talking about that this executive order, and the coon that was on the stage said BLM did all of that back in the summer of love, and BLM and no one was arrested. That's what he said on that clip.
And there's a lot of people from BLM that got arrested that year.
So he lied.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But also, if Jimmy Kimmel should not have his job, then clearly Brian Kilmeade should not have his job.
Man, that was really bad. Say that the homeless should be receive a lethal injection. I don't understand. But see, that's what I'm saying is that when Trump made it clear what he was doing, whether it is with the Antifa thing or whether it is folks on late night television, he's only focused on people on the left. I mean, in both cases, he said, with the FCC, you shouldn't have your license if you're criticizing him. I mean, he's making it clear he only is focused on going after people on the left that does stuff wrong. He's not concerned with folks on the right.
Yeah, well, and it's funny, and he's not. Now it's so funny. This is how gullible his side is. Every time Trump says something, then they go, yeah, Stephen Colbert wasn't funny anyway. Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel. They don't believe. It doesn't matter what the fuck they do. There's followers it's been in the comments since you've been on live. Yeah, he wasn't that funny. What was it? It's like, you know what? He had the second or the third highest ratings. It wasn't about ratings. It wasn't about any of that. Trump spoke. This is why Trump wanted the FCC, the SEC, and the FTC to report directly to him, because they knew all of these. They knew all of these deals were in the pipeline from the very beginning. And again, Tamar Bowles, show his bad ratings. He was ranked 3rd on late night. This isn't about ratings.
No, it's not, because Stephen Colbert was doing very well in the ratings, and they said the same thing about him. He was doing very well in the ratings.
Tim, I think it's very important when we have these conversations to be factual about what's going on, because the right, and I'm not saying, and the left isn't perfect, but that's not who. Here's the thing: that's not who's in charge right now. The right is in charge. They have the House, the Senate. They haven't pushed forward any other legislation other than the beautiful bill. Where is the legislation for the border? He could get it done like that. He's got everything. Where's the legislation for the border? They don't give a fuck about this shit, Tim. We are $386 billion over our spending from last year up to this point. $386 billion.
I had one of my MAGA viewers, one of my beloved MAGA, tell me, look, it might not look right all the time, but 99% of the time, if you bet on Trump, you will come out on top. So it's kind of like, some of this, the spending is not necessarily under control. The war didn't end in 24 hours and all that. But listen, Trump is playing chess, and ultimately things will turn out right. So they have faith in Trump that eventually, no matter what, it's going to end up well for them.
And the funny thing is, I would challenge this by saying, show me where the people around Trump have benefited from Trump's actions long term. Go back to his first presidency and tell me who walked away from that presidency in a better position than they were before his presidency.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I mean, obviously Mike Pence did not, Scaramucci did not, Spicer did not, Bolton did not. I mean, that is a good point. Omarosa did not. I don't know anybody. What is his name? What is the guy? Barr. Yeah, Giuliani definitely did not. No, I don't think anybody on Trump's first administration walked away.
There you go, Travel Man. Pillow Guy, John Eastman. Think about the people that went to prison that he actually pardoned. There's motherfuckers that went to prison around him. People that can't practice law anymore around him. People around him that had success now don't have anything, and it continues. All of the military people, all the Millie, and all of those people, even if they have their financial security, he was trying to take away their pensions if they didn't agree with him. Think about it. There's a reason people that, and I told you this the other day, and I'm going to say it again. Charlie Kirk, and I didn't like any of his views at all. He was a victim of the propaganda. They got that young man when he was in his early teens. He'd been preaching this shit over half of his life. He was propagandized and radicalized to these views. Think about it, Tim. He was only 31.
Yeah, he's young.
Goddamn.
He was young.
So if he's been on the scene preaching this rhetoric and this ideology, somebody got to him. Turning Point, the whole Heritage Foundation, and they didn't care. They didn't care. And Charlie was no hero, Jeremy. You can call him a hero. Because, see, the things that he was saying did not impact.
Well, I disagree. I mean, wait a minute. I'm going to fluff a little bit here. There's a little heroicism. I can't even think of the word. There's a little bit of hero aspect to Charlie Kirk, and that is he brought a lot of young folks over to the Conservative Party. Just like if you had somebody that was left, and because there's a whole lot of people in the minority community, particularly the black community, that do not vote in elections. If you get someone that's Charlie Kirk's age, that is bringing a lot of young black folks, and bringing them out to vote, that's going to be a Democratic hero. Charlie Kirk did that for the right.
If they did it under the guise of spewing rhetoric and being palatable and saying shit that was flat out lies, he told most of the shit. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. And you can bring anybody up right now here to challenge me, and they would fucking lose. The shit that he says was propaganda. Most of it was lies. A lot of it he made Huh?
And I mean, hold on. You don't think Democrats, when they're trying to energize folks to vote, you don't think the Democrat Party, didn't Biden say they're gonna put y'all back in chains? Both sides lie.
Tim, I'm not talking about the lie. You're trying to say that leading by deceit can lead to somebody being a hero? You tell me the last time in our culture we name our heroes. I'm talking about even fictional heroes. Name heroes. We have not built the way we look at heroes by deceit and manipulation. We haven't. That's not how we define heroes in this country. Now, if you want to say that we're going to redefine what it takes to be considered a hero, I'm opting out on that shit. Yeah. Because how can we say that he is a hero when he was divisive with his rhetoric? He was an inspiration to people that believe that ideology, but that's not a hero, Tim. This is the problem. This is the problem in this country. We are giving too many allowances for poor behavior, and then wonder why the kids act the way they do when we look up to shit like this. This is completely absurd to call Charlie Kirk a hero because he led with the rhetoric he led with.
I'm just gonna say I strongly believe that if a liberal did exactly what Charlie Kirk is doing for the left would call him a hero as well. I get your point about propaganda. I get your point about lying. I get your point about division. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people that think that Farrakhan is a hero, and Farrakhan is divisive as hell. I mean, we would gladly accept that Charlie Kirk if he was on our side.
Hold on, Tim. When you talk about Farrakhan, being divisive and being truthful, because they said Obama
White devils?
Well, Tim, based on the history in this.
Oh, come on! You sound like MAGA.
Tim, wait a minute, Tim. Based on the history in this country, In that time when Farrakhan was speaking, back in the 60s, and the history we had in this country with white America and the way they treated us in this country, where the fuck was he wrong, Tim? Do you want to go down this path? I don't think your audience wants to have this conversation.
I'm just going to simply say that. I'm just going to simply say what I said.
And I wouldn't call him a hero. And I wouldn't call Farrakhan no fucking hero either. Because see, we got to be careful who we call heroes. That's my point. We got to be careful of who we call heroes. And here's what I mean. First of all, it would never happen on the left because the left eat their own. You know.
Yeah. There's a lot more of that, yes.
There's a lot more of that. There's no way that the left would allow somebody to say some of the shit that he said and not be called out on it. It would have never fucking happened to him. Now, this country said that division in this country started with Obama. Can you please tell me what Obama did that was divisive as a leader?
Well, there's one thing he did that was divisive, but I'll start out by saying just simply anytime somebody is black doing something for the first time, there's going to be nothing to do with the person. But if I'm black and I'm the first person to do this, there's going to be a lot of people that don't want me doing this. So that alone is going to bring in division. But I'll tell you this: there was a cop that was accused of shooting somebody on their property. And Obama got involved and said a bunch of bad things about the cop. Turns out Obama was wrong, and he offered to get a cop up, have him over for a beer or whatever. That was viewed as divisive. Also, when Obama got involved in the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman thing and said Trayvon Martin could be my son, a lot of people didn't like that. A lot of people didn't like Obama siding with Black Lives Matter. There's a few aspects there.
But Tim, him saying that Trayvon Martin could have been his son is divisive to the people that don't want to hear it, Tim. Yeah. It's divisive because, and again, listen, this is a whole nother conversation. This country looks for moments to say he was divisive because he said he could have been his son, but didn't they say that Trump looked at Charlie Kirk like his son?
Yeah, and that's divisive too. Let me say it this way, and that's what makes Trump divisive. Anytime you have a major controversial issue that is white and black, Daniel Penny on the subway in New York, what is the guy that went to the guy with the AR-15, a 17-year-old in Wisconsin? What is his name?
Rittenhouse.
Yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse. Anytime you have a controversial event like that, Trump takes the white side of it. So yeah, Trump is very divisive. He takes sides and issues. Same thing what happened to Charlie Kirk. Trump immediately jumps on TV and blames it on the Democrats. So yeah, Trump is going to be far more divisive than anybody because he jumps in events. I mean, obviously he jumped in the whole Colin Kaepernick thing that had nothing to do. I mean, he likes to get into incidents, and he takes the white side of it. So he's going to be way more divisive than Obama or Biden because he likes to do that stuff.
And he's a racist. Listen. Let me ask you this, Tim. If you came home from work and you saw a trail of ants in your house, you would follow the ants to see what they're going to get, right?
Okay.
You would follow the ants to see what is attracting the ants. And then you would ultimately, if you wanted to get rid of the ants, you would remove the source, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If this country really wanted to get rid of this hate and this racism, they would go to the source. What's the source of the racism, Tim?
Well, to the right, the source of the racism is liberals.
But again, I didn't ask you what the right said. I asked you.
Listen, I think Trump is the source. I mean, I think Trump gets involved in a lot of shit, propels a lot of hate that don't need to be done. I mean, if he just focused on running the country and not got into a lot of the social issues, I think it would be weaker. But his side likes that shit.
So if they like the source, they're the ants that are leading to the source.
That's a strong analogy. Wow.
So if they like the source, then they are feeding off of the racism, Tim. They are feeding off of him. They are the ants. They are the trail that you were following, and you found the source of it, Trump. And as long as Trump's there, they're going to keep feeding off of that. As long as that racism there, you're going to always have that trail of ants. But then they're always going to look at someone else like they're the problem. That is so crazy about this shit. Because at the end of the day, and I'm going to answer your question real quick, Jeremy, because you're not equipped to debate me, and you should know that already. You got some dishes to do. Don't you got to go to work, Jeremy? Well, here's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, people can say what they want, left, right, whatever the case may be. Unless we get honest about what's going on, it's always going to be that way. Because Orban turned around right after Trump did. He deemed Antifa a T group an hour after.
Yeah, I don't have any understanding why Antifa in 2025 is making it to the top of the list as a terror group. That makes no sense. They haven't been involved in shit for years. I don't know what the rest. I mean, there's all kinds of things in this country, in America, that needs to be dealt with. Antifa should be not even in the top 1,000. They just aren't doing anything of significance.
Exactly, Tim. Now, two more things, and I'm gonna go.
Real quick, go ahead.
Don't you find that the transgender community is less than 1% of the total population, but every event that happens, somehow the right finds one? Don't you find that interesting, Tim?
I don't even think they 0.01%. I mean, it ain't a lot of trans in this country. They well under 1%. Well under 1%. I don't know how they do that.
Because it's bullshit. And lastly,
appreciate that, Jax.
And Jeremy asked in the comments, name one thing that Charlie Kirk said that was incorrect. And I know you can show others, but I want Jeremy, you always want to debate me. Jeremy, just find the source that shows a stat that prowling black people hunt white people for fun. That's what he said. Now, that is a lie. There's no stats to even support it. Black people aren't leaving the house hunting people for fun. We're not leaving the house string fruiting people, Jeremy. That ain't us. Okay, so find a source for what he said. Tim, you can pull it up. I'm not lying. Tim, I wish
I've seen it.
This is over with. You've seen it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not lying. Again, tap the screen, share the live. Let's get Tim well over 100,000. And I appreciate you bringing me up. And Jeremy, go get in them dishes.
Gotta go. Oh my God. Anyway, tap the screen. He's right. Get us on up to over 100,000. We can somebody's been showing the program some love, so thank you. Jeremy, you says Mike is scared to debate you. Maybe in the future I'll have you guys both on one-on-one. You can certainly do that. I don't think Mike is scared to debate you no more than you are him. So I would certainly bring you two on together. Will G says MAGA ain't shit. He says if you support the right and things go bad, really bad, but you let let me read this again. If you support the right and things go bad, things go really bad. But let you be the wrong skin tone or religion and you become the scapegoat. Wow. So he's saying that if you support the right and things go bad, things will go really bad. But let you be the wrong skin tone or religion and you become the scapegoat. So in other words, like let's say for instance, you do have African Americans that support the right. If something go wrong, you're going to catch the flu. In other words, they're going to treat you even worse than they would their white counterparts, is what he's saying. I'll leave it up to you folks. I don't totally disagree with that in many cases. I don't totally disagree with that. But I see what happened to Ray Epps, and Ray Epps is a white MAGA, and they treated him like shit. And Charlie would say only Jesus can get you into heaven. He would never say he could. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, division is something we certainly need to progress out of. But I mean, I say this all the time when it comes to President Trump. We can talk about being divisive under Biden, not old Biden. We can talk about America being divisive under Biden, being divisive under Obama, or even George W. Bush for that matter. But they're all gone now. The question is, when President Trump got elected, is there anybody that believed his goal was to bring the country together? I mean, I got to tell you, he campaigned on being divisive. You know, red states are great, blue states suck. I mean, he kind of campaigned on it. Radical, left-wing lunatics and shit. I mean, you don't hear him saying anything bad about the right. So I got to tell you, Trump, you know, he campaigned on being divisive. That don't mean the country wasn't divided before he came along, but it does mean that he had no intention on uniting us. And of course, he's not operating from that standpoint now. Robert Kennedy says TDS. Shout out to you, Robert. Trump hate speech must be punished. I don't know. This is where we're talking about losing free speech rights, is that all of a sudden, if you're speaking ill of Trump, you certainly got to be punished for some reason. Now, what I brought up earlier is that Trump has deemed Antifa as a terrorist outfit. And I mentioned this before that I don't understand why he's doing that because Antifa's just not in the news. Antifa hasn't done anything of any significance lately. But not only that, but the problem is with the definition. I brought this up earlier. The problem is with the definition of Antifa. Here's what Google AI says the definition of Antifa is. Antifa is a broad, decentralized, anti-fascist political movement composed of autonomous groups and individuals. The term is short for anti-fascist, and its adherents oppose fascism, racism, white supremacy, and far-right ideologies. It lacks a central leader, membership, or official structure, operating more as a collection of ideas, tactics, rather than formal organization. So the problem with this is it could damn near be anybody. If President Trump has deemed Antifa as a terrorist organization, based on this definition, this could be most of us. What do I mean by that? The term is short for anti-fascist, and its adherents oppose fascism, racism, and white supremacy. I'm going to tell you, probably 80% of America, if you ask them, would tell you that they also oppose fascism, racism, and white supremacy. Even the white supremacists would tell you they oppose white supremacy. Even they will tell you that. White supremacists do not come out and say publicly, they don't come out and support white supremacy. They lie about it too. So if you're going to say that Antifa opposes fascism, racism, and white supremacy, that's got to be probably over 80% of the country. How many Americans are going to come out and admit they support fascism? Everybody's going to say they are against fascism, even if they happen to be supporting somebody that's being fascist. They're all going to say they don't support racism, even if they're totally racist. So based on what the definition of Antifa is, this could literally end up falling on anybody's lap. And the problem is, because we've deemed, under Trump, we're deeming Antifa as a terrorist organization, it gives the Trump administration broad powers to basically do a lot more, like, for instance, once we deemed ISIS or once we deemed the Taliban or Al-Qaeda as a terrorist outfit, you can kind of do military strikes and shit like that without really having to prove much. It's a terrorist outfit. They had to, just like Trump is now bombing boats down in Venezuela. You don't have to give them due process. You don't have to prove that they're drug runners or prove that they have narcotics on them. They're a terrorist outfit. You can kind of just do it. Well, once you deem Americans as terrorists, you can kind of be able to do a lot more to Americans without having to prove anything. Remember, once he deemed Trinidad Agua and MS-13 as terrorist outfits, now you can do whatever you want to them. So if you are able to deem an American group as a member of a terrorist organization, it kind of gives you the same rights. Infinity says, did you hear about the Starbucks Charlie Kirk trend? No, I did not, and I'm afraid to ask you, what is it? What is the Starbucks Charlie Kirk trend? Trend. What is the... Oh, I am Charlie Kirk. Is that what you're talking about when you go in there and you ask for a drink or whatever, you say, I am Charlie Kirk? I don't see anything. If that's what it is, I don't see anything wrong with it. If you side with Charlie Kirk, you feel what he went through is wrong, being executed for free speech, which is wrong. Like, if you want to say, I believe that I am Charlie Kirk, I don't see nothing wrong with that. Just like folks are now saying, I am Jimmy Kimmel, because Jimmy Kimmel also got terminated for what should be free speech. Good evening, Deborah Richards. Looking in the comments, though, the thing with Obama was he actually squashed the beef with him and the cop. Trump would have left the situation as is and scolded the cop. That's 100% true. 100% true. When Obama fucked up and said that cop was wrong, and it turned out the cop was right, Obama invited the cop to hang out with him and drink a beer with him. And the cop did take him up on that offer. He got to meet the president and have a beer with him or whatever. Yeah, Trump would not have apologized or anything. That's 100% true. I have guests on here all the time where I'm pointing out Trump did something wrong and he never apologized, such as him tweeting out once that black people are responsible for almost all of white homicides, 81%. I've covered it in detail. Bill O'Reilly and Trump arguing about it. because it's not something I got off of CNN or MSNBC. It's an actual video of him admitting it to Bill O'Reilly and Bill O'Reilly telling him it's wrong. And of course, he never apologized for it. So, yeah, I do agree that if Trump did it, he would not apologize for it. Stop acting stupid, bro, says Door Jam Benny. The headquarters is out of Rose City, Oregon. Do your homework. Antifa doesn't have a headquarters in Rose City, Oregon. That's not true. That's not true. I don't look. That's just like saying the Black Lives Matter members that were collecting money and shit and using it to, pay for cars and all this other shit. People who actually support the Black Lives Matter movement have never met those people, have never talked to those people. They didn't give any money. They don't have nothing to do with that. Same thing here. You're talking about Antifa has a headquarters in Oregon. So most people talking about Antifa have nothing to do with that shit. They're not giving any orders or instructions by those people. They don't have phone calls or Zoom meetings. Nothing. They have no contact with those people. That's not a headquarters. There's nothing coming out of that headquarters that has any effect on the typical Antifa member. It had nothing to do with that. Talking about headquarters. Antifa does not have a headquarters. But looking in the comments real quick, Will G says MAGA ain't shit. Says they all three Democratic presidents attending Senator Robert Byrd's and classified it as a Klan meeting. Damn. When there will never be the biggest Klan meeting coming up Sunday, Trump will. Oh, wow. So you're saying the memorial for Charlie Kirk coming up this Sunday will be the largest Klan meeting ever? Damn. I don't want to say that. I don't believe everybody that support Charlie Kirk is a Klan member. Look, there are legitimate reasons to vote Republican. There's legitimate reasons to everything Charlie Kirk said I don't agree with whatsoever. He said things that, in my opinion, are flat out false. But if you favor conservative values, you're Christian, you believe in a two-parent household, some of the values he promoted, I can understand why people would get behind them. I can totally understand that. Because a lot of the stuff is straight biblical. I'm not very Christian anymore because I do believe Christianity has been warped to use as a sense of power and control over people. I would be more willing to believe in God and exclude all of the Christianity shit because most of the stuff that's in the book was written by man. I would just rather entertain the notion that maybe there's a higher power and I'll speak to him directly without going through that book because I don't believe the stuff in the book has anything to do with it. But that's my opinion. That's my opinion. How $500 sound? Lock it up. No, you're saying there's a headquarters. You're saying you'll bet me $500 that Antifa has a headquarters in where did you say, in Portland somewhere? No, that ain't the point, Bennett. You said it's in Rose City, Oregon. That ain't the point. The point I'm making is the headquarters has nothing to do with the overwhelming majority of folks that are for the movement. The headquarters is useless. You could destroy the headquarters, go in there and arrest everybody in there. And most of the people that are part of Antifa might not even know about it because they have nothing to do with it. The headquarters has nothing to do with the group. Just like the folks that founded Black Lives Matter would be considered the leadership of Black Lives Matter. 99.99999% of the people walking down the street yelling Black Lives Matter and stuff like have nothing to do with those people. I've never met them, have never talked to them, have never heard from them, do not follow orders from them. It's the leadership that has nothing to do with the actual movement. And that's the same way with Antifa. They're not taking orders from those folks. Nothing. They're not getting phone calls, anything. So you can say it's a headquarters. It's a headquarters that has no power. My opinion, yeah, the Bible was written by man, but God told them what to write. You know something? Maybe in the beginning, but there's a lot of problems I have with this. First of all, when God roamed the earth, it was not like there was a pencil and paper around. So all of these different books in the Bible would have to have been memorized by somebody in their head, or at the very best, written on the wall of a cave or something and translated later. The English language didn't even exist at that time. So you didn't have paper and pen to write this stuff down or any of that. So straight off, even if it was his words, you gotta admit they've been translated over time because whoever wrote it down in the Bible they had to hear it from somebody word of mouth. You ever played a game in school where you whisper in somebody's ear, then they turn and whisper in somebody else's ear, and it goes around in a circle, and by the time the story comes back, it's all fucked up? That would have to be how the Bible. Dencal, appreciate that. Shout out to you. Thank you. That's how it would have to be. Because when he roamed the earth, it was not like somebody was following him around writing stuff down. They had to keep those stories in their head. And those stories would have had to been passed down from generation to generation by word of mouth, kept in people's head, before finally the invention of ways to write it down and things like that. Mankind is not capable of doing that without making all kinds of screw ups in the story. There's no way I'm going to tell you something, you pass it down to your kids pass it down to your grandkids, great grandkids. And by the time you actually by the time your great grandkids write that story down, it ain't going to be the same shit I passed on to you. It's going to be all kinds of errors in it. That's why I'm saying that that a lot of the teachings in the Bible, I believe I've heard stories that even homosexuality was not originally viewed the way it is now, that it's a sin and all of that. I believe that was originally not like that. I've heard that they've changed passages in the Bible over time. So it's not all, I don't believe it's all, that's what I said. I would just rather go with that there's a deity up there, talk to him directly and not necessarily focus on the Bible. I don't care about your Western religious beliefs, says Chris. Fair enough. Where's the Epstein list? Epstein list doesn't matter, Cammy. Epstein list. Like I said, I don't even think it would matter if Trump was on the Epstein list. I think MAGA likes Trump so much that they would overlook that. They're not going to hold Trump accountable for the Epstein list when they think most of the other stuff he's doing is really good. Going back to the box, didn't count. Oh, baby, I got MAGA Reacts. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Paul, that is a lie. He said that specific women didn't have the brain processing power to have certain jobs. Specific women, not black women in general. Well, he didn't explain it. MAGA Reacts. Good evening.
Tim, we've had scrolls and writing for a very long time. You know, you had the Library of Alexandria that had a ton of scrolls. You have the Dead Sea Scrolls, which had the Bible written in it.
Have you seen how thick the Bible is? Have you seen how thick the Bible is? In that regular size writing, there's hundreds of pages. You realize how many scrolls it would take to tell those stories if you had to inscribe it in rock?
It's not rock, it's paper, it's papyrus, it's all kinds of shit. We've been at this for a very long time.
You're telling me paper,
a lot of money that kept these books going.
You're telling me paper existed during the time Jesus roamed the earth?
Yes, 1,000%. Before Jesus. How do you think the Roman Empire existed, which was like 400 or 500 years old at the time of Jesus? Probably longer. You know, and they had all kinds of scrolls. I mean, that's what made the Romans so powerful. They had like, if you watch the History Channel, they had all kinds of crazy technology that you wouldn't think they had.
I have never seen anybody telling me. I have never seen anybody talking about they're reading a document on a paper that's 2,000 years old. In the comments, Black Rain says the Dead Sea Scrolls have been proven. Hold on, hang on. In the comments, Black Rain says the Dead Sea Scrolls have been proven a fake.
Okay, even if they're fake, we've had scrolls since forever. Like, okay. We've had.
But even okay, let's go with the scrolls. Even with the scrolls, they had to translate it to different languages, so there still could be things lost. If the scrolls are written in one language, like Latin or whatever, and then you translate it to English, even that can be screwed up.
Yeah. But what you do is there's so many copies. You look at all copies and see what they have in common.
It's still being done by man, though. It's still being done by man.
People whose whole job is to do this. I'm not one of them, obviously, but there's a lot of archaeologists that will tell you how wrong you are. And
I get your point, but what I'm saying is anything done by man to that level, the idea that it's error-free doesn't make sense to me. There's going to be errors in that. People are going to use it. Like for instance, people believe they lied about the actual race and visual features of Jesus. So people change shit to fit their own narratives.
I mean, that's why the archaeologists go to the source and they look at multiple sources from all over the world. But, so again, I'm not an archaeologist. I'm not up here to debate this.
Right. That's the only reason the archaeologists.
That paper has been around for a very long time.
Right. The only reason the archaeologists are doing that is because even they're questioning stuff. That's all I'm saying, is that I don't believe what's in that book is 100% accurate. It's been passed through too many versions of being translated.
Yeah, No, I'll give you that, but don't tell me there's no paper back then. There was paper back then.
I haven't. Okay, all right. Well, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
Years before Jesus, we've had. Hold on, Alexa. When was paper invented?
The first paper-making process was documented in China somewhere between year 25 and 220 CE.
Oh, so hold on, Alexa. When was papyrus used?
Papyrus was first manufactured in Egypt as far back as the 4th millennium BCE. The earliest archaeological
4,000 years before Jesus, they were using papyrus to write things.
All right. Like I said, I have not heard though that this was written down that way. I have not heard that.
I mean, it goes without saying. I never had someone actually question it before.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But like I said, even you admit it though. Even if they wrote it on paper, because the languages were changed. Even still, there's all kinds of room for error there.
Yeah, even right now when it gets printed, there's all kinds of changes and errors.
Right.
And it depends who publishes it. It depends on a lot of shit. I'm not arguing that. I'm just the fact that you're telling me there's no paper back then.
Okay.
That's crazy.
All right. Okay, we'll go with that. So anyway, in regards to what we're talking about today, we're talking about free speech under fire. What the hell is going on? Okay, Jimmy Kimmel's gone. Trump is now saying NBC needs to get rid of Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers as well. What's up with that?
I mean, I don't agree with him with Fallon. Myers maybe. Myers shows up so late at night. I don't even know if he's.
What does that got to do with? But what does that got to do with him? Because he shows up late at night. Why is the president getting involved in that?
I mean, he shouldn't. I'll give you that. But I'm a huge fan of Jimmy Kimmel. I used to watch him from back in the Man Show. I've been a fan of him forever.
Girls on trampolines, ziggy ziggy, oi oi oi.
Yeah,
I remember.
On top of
big fan,
mean tweets, on top of fucking the Halloween kids prank, on top of when you tell your kids you ate all their Halloween candy, on top of the Channing Tatum songs, and he's done so much good shit. But the last 10 years, he hasn't been viral for anything non-political. All the shit he comes viral for is not funny and it's political in the last 10 years. Like, I miss the old Jimmy Kimmel that was genuinely funny and very talented, but lately it's all been politics.
Okay, I'm not gonna. And listen, I was watching Colbert. I don't really watch any of them anymore. But the thing about it is, just because a guy is not funny, that doesn't get a president to say he should be taken off air.
No, I'm with you on that, but I also think Jimmy deserved it because he hasn't been funny, and he's not making. I doubt he's making money for them. He's a money loser. I think him opposing Trump has kept him on the air longer than he should have, because he should have been fired a long time ago for not being funny. But a lot of these people are popular because they oppose Trump. That's their stick now.
Yeah, but don't you realize Greg Gutfeld is making a killing because he's doing just the opposite? That's the reason he's popular too, is he's attacking liberals.
Yeah, but he's not on public TV. He's on cable.
What does that got to do with it?
Specialized channel. His channel's not ABC, like a regular channel. It's supposed to be neutral.
No, it doesn't. No, there's no ruling that the broadcast networks got to be neutral. There's nothing that suggests that. I mean, listen.
I think there is.
No, there's not. Not for a comedy late night show. Jay Leno used to talk about Slick Willie with the whole Monica Lewinsky thing all the damn time. They made fun of presidents for years. No president ever said you got to talk positively about me.
At least they were funny. Kimmel hasn't been funny.
But there's no requirement you be funny.
Look at South Park. He's not going after South Park, and they insulted him worse than anybody. But they're at least funny.
He ain't going after South Park yet. He ain't going after South Park yet. I guarantee you. He got 3 years ago. I guarantee he gonna be going after what is it? What channel they on? Paramount or what network are they on?
Hey, how come he's not going after what's his name, Jon Stewart? No one criticizes him worse than Jon Stewart, but he's actually funny. How come he's not going after Jon Stewart?
You got to give him time, Maggie X. I mean, he went after Colbert first. He went after Jimmy Kimmel. He just tweeted out the other day that Jimmy Fallon and Seth are next. I mean, give him time. He's going after as many of them as he can. It takes time.
Yeah, I think Fallon. I don't know why Fallon's on his list because I don't think Fallon
because he doesn't speak favorably of him. Anybody that speaks negatively of Trump, you heard him say what he wanted to do to Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. If you don't speak favorably of him, he goes after you. He's a retribution president.
Yeah, and then on top of that, nothing he actually did caused this. This was all based on, Disney and their affiliates. The affiliates are conservative. You know that, right? Like all those channels, the local channels, they're owned by conservative people, and but Disney is super leftist. So
I don't believe that. I don't believe that because Trump got up there and blamed the death of Charlie Kirk on Democrats even before we knew who the killer was. And Elon Musk said the Democratic Party is a party of murder before you knew. You don't hear the right criticizing that at all. But all of a sudden, Jimmy Kimmel says it was one of their own and they pissed off about that. No, they just didn't like Jimmy Kimmel and they're using this as an excuse to go after him.
No, I mean, I'll give you that. What he said wasn't bad at all. I'm not saying that. What he said was like barely anything. I mean, it wasn't funny, but it wasn't like disrespectful or anything. It was bad timing, but I think the issue with him, that was the straw that broke the camel's toe.
Yeah, it just gave them an excuse to do what they already wanted to do. Because to me, Elon Musk getting on the internet and saying that the Democrats are the party of murder, or you got folks like Jesse Waters of Fox that said we're at war with them. I mean, they got way more harsher comments on that event that came from the right than the left. I mean, what Jimmy Kimmel said has got to be the mildest comment out there of all.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It wasn't bad. It was like I said, you know what I mean when I say it's the straw that broke the camel's back?
Yeah.
It was just the thing that tipped everything over. Like, it wasn't bad, but it just set
Let me ask it to you this way. I asked this earlier. Let me ask it to you this way. If Biden or Kamala Harris had won the presidency, do you think Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert will be out of a job?
Maybe, because they're not making money. And they wouldn't have Trump to keep them going. I mean, yeah. I wonder sometimes, where would all these shows be without Trump keeping their fucking,
it's interesting. I did not hear CBS was going broke under Colbert at all while Biden was president or any of that. It wasn't until Trump got pissed off and was able to get him fired.
These companies are not going broke. Why are they all trying to merge with bigger companies to save themselves?
Mergers.
You really think if they're making a ton of money, there would be all these mergers that Trump is supposedly using to manipulate them? The mergers are because they're not profitable and trying to merge with a bigger company to save themselves.
If you're a bigger company, why would you merge with a company that's not making any money?
You're hoping your resources will turn the company around, or you're buying it for other reasons other than to make money.
I think it's more along the line of just greed. I mean, T-Mobile purchased Sprint. I don't think it was that Sprint wasn't making money. T-Mobile just saw I could add them to the fuel to the fire and make a bigger fire. I don't think it's always about they're not making money. I think they just see we can put these folks together, we can pool our resources, we can get rid of some of the overhead and make even more money. I think some of it is greed.
Yeah, but you just said it. They pool the resources, they do a bunch of shit that ends up saving them and making them more profitable.
Yeah, I just never heard.
They're making money on their own. They wouldn't need to do that.
Yeah, I just never heard that Stephen Colbert and the network was going broke. And as many folks pointed out, they could have gave Stephen.
You're saying two different things again. Like, I didn't say they were going broke. I just said that show wasn't profitable. It wasn't making money.
Well, but there's a lot of things.
It's not profitable.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that can be done. There's a lot of things that can be done. You could actually talk to Stephen Colbert and see if he's willing to get rid of some staff or take a pay cut. Same thing with Jimmy Kimmel. Just going straight from you're working for us to now you're fired. They don't have anything to fill in that time slot, so they're gonna put on reruns of Steve Harvey's Celebrity Family Feud. They're gonna lose even more money because advertisers and shit ain't gonna put the same advertising dollars behind that they would put behind a live Jimmy Kimmel show where you got.
I watch Steve Harvey way more than I watch Jimmy Kimmel. The Family Feud is very entertaining and it costs nothing to make.
No,
I
don't
the
buy that.
prizes are a joke. People go on there, put out a half an hour TV show for like $10,000. I was like, Who the fuck would do all this for 10 grand? Like,
I don't buy that people gonna be routinely watching an hour of Steve Harvey and Family Feud over these folks talking about actual events and making them like. I mean, Steve Harvey, it's a decent thing on Family Feud, but to me, you get enough of that pretty quick. I don't buy that the advertisers are gonna pay as much. None of that.
Funny. He's political, not funny.
Okay.
You know.
But that's your opinion, though.
And in the last 2, 3, 5 years, I've watched Steve Harvey way more than I watch Kimmel.
You lean right. You're not gonna watch Kimmel.
I just told you how big of a fan of Kimmel I was.
You're going all the way back to the. You're going all the way back to.
Funny is funny. Doesn't matter if you're on the right or left.
It does if they're making jokes about politics.
It doesn't, bro. I watch funny people make fun of Trump. I mean, what's his name? Andrew Schultz makes fun of Trump all the time.
Okay.
There's people that make fun of Trump and make me laugh all the time. And the example I go back to is South Park.
Yeah.
There's a lot of funny Trump jokes out there, and I don't mind hearing them. It's funny.
I'm just going to tell you the reasons you're giving. I'm just going to tell you the reasons you're giving are not significant to fire the guy, because there's a whole lot of people that thought Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, and Stephen Colbert are funny.
He's not doing his job, which is being
that's
funny.
But that's your opinion, though. Yeah, but that's your opinion. I mean, there are millions of people watching them every night. That's your opinion. They're not funny. People were tuning in watching those shows.
It's like, and also it's the same as Tucker Carlson. You know, he got fired because he pissed off his boss and he wasn't making them up. I don't know. No, I'm not saying it's the same as Tucker Carlson.
No, you and I disagree. I don't think Jimmy Kimmel got fired because he said something and the employer decided what you said it crossed the line and I got to fire you. Because even you're admitting what he said wasn't that bad. So, well, you have free speech, but you don't have the right to consequences. You say something bad, your employer gonna get rid of you. What he said wasn't that fucking bad. It is simply put Trump behind the scenes. The Trump administration threatened the right people at Disney and got that guy fired. Trump is all over that, and everybody knows it. Same way he's all over the Stephen Colbert firing, and he's trying to make it sound like, well, they were not making money, they were going broke. Everybody knows why these people are getting fired.
Look, if he was making Disney money and if he was making affiliates money, they wouldn't have gotten rid of him so easily. I mean, Trump barely had to say a word, and he was gone before the guy finished having his interview on the.
It doesn't matter how much it doesn't matter how much he was making Disney. If you're trying to get involved in a multi-billion-dollar merger and this guy is trying to prevent the merger from happening, even if the guy is profiting for you a little bit, a few million or whatever, you're going to have to get rid of him. That's why this week the number one daytime show on the air right now is The View. They have not even covered this topic. They didn't cover it at all because they're a Disney-owned show and they seen what Trump did to Disney. The View is number one on daytime and they're not covering this. So it's pretty clear they realize it ain't got shit to do with what we do. If Trump wants us fired, he can make up a reason and they'll fire us. I think everybody realizes that now.
All right. I mean, like normal, I don't disagree with you. I think you're also correct. But what I'm saying is he hasn't been profitable. He hasn't been making them money. And, you would have more people defending him if he was fucking funny and he was doing his job.
There's plenty of people defending him. I got to move it on, but there's plenty of people defending him. So, and like I said, even if he wasn't funny, even if he wasn't profitable, people know he didn't get fired for those reasons. So just like you can make a martyr out of Charlie Kirk, you can make a martyr out of people that are getting fired because the president don't like, the president is a snowflake. People see what's happening. So you're creating martyrs out of these people because people are just walking around saying, I am Charlie Kirk. And now people are walking around saying, I am Jimmy Kimmel. MAGA, got to move it on.
Look, my biggest example is still, what's his name from The Daily Show? Jon Stewart. I want more of him. And he hates Trump just as much as anybody else. And more people want him to do his show more than one day a week.
Yeah. And if he does it, and if he starts doing it more than one day a week, and Trump starts going after him, his job will be in jeopardy too. I got to go. Yeah.
Do you have any cash?
No. Maybe 20 bucks.
I'll give you the change back.
All right, go ahead. See my wallet upstairs. All right. Moving on with the program. Trump can't pull off as easy, says Ms. V. Trump can't pull him off as easy. Look, Trump can do a lot. I had a viewer on here talking about, Comcast and Trump can't get access to him. And I'm going to tell you something. every company, every broadcast company, things like that, they need other stuff to make their business work. Camera equipment, you need actors, you need networks to broadcast your program. If I can't fuck with you, I'll get everybody you deal with. I mean, everything you need to make your operation a success. Just like with the tariffs, if you buy oil from Russia, then we're gonna fuck with you. We want Russia. So anybody that does business with Russia, we're gonna fuck with them. Same thing, like South Park. People say, well, South Park got their own money, so they're untouchable. No, they're not. You can find everything that it takes to bring South Park's program into your home. Fuck with all of that stuff. All of the entities that broadcast it. I mean, look, it ain't hard when you got the whole weight of the government behind you and people are just letting you do whatever you want. There's always everything that's happening right now. Everybody can be touched. Nobody is standing in his way to do what he wants. So there's nobody that is above being touched by Trump right now because people are just letting him do whatever he want to do. Disney and their big stupid rat will be losing money. Yeah, Disney kind of was Disney was kind of put between a rock and a hard place here. You either fire Jimmy Kimmel, or you deal with the wrath of MAGA, or and if you fire him, now you're going to have a whole lot of your customers canceling your Disney products. So if you can do what MAGA wants, and now your customers are pissed off, or you can keep them on air, satisfying your customers, and then MAGA's gonna fuck with you. And that's why I said if Trump ends up losing the midterms and the Democrats win, this stuff is gonna be a problem because the Democrats are gonna certainly start holding congressional hearings and things like that. Trump has no business being involved in this stuff. He has no business being involved in it. And for folks who try to make it sound like the only reason Jimmy Kimmel got fired is because he says something on air and your employer can fire you anytime you want. There's too many things Trump has said to show he's involved in it.
I read someplace that the network, 97% against me. I get 97% negative, and yet I won easily. I won all 7 swing states, won everything. And if they're 97% against, they give me only bad publicity or press. I mean, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their license should be taken away. It would be up to Brendan Carr. When you have a network and you have evening shows and all they do is hit Trump, that's all they do. If you go back, I guess they haven't had a conservative on in years or something, somebody said. But when you go back and take a look, all they do is hit Trump. They're licensed. They're not allowed to do that. They're an arm.
Now, you think if he's willing to have that conversation in public, you can only imagine what he said behind the scenes. I mean, he's making it clear that if you're talking about me on TV, you shouldn't have a license. Now, I mentioned this earlier in the live stream, and thank you folks that are tapping the screen. Get us on up to 130. I'll take the next call in a few seconds here. But to me, it's kind of like, what example did I just use? I said, it's kind of like the mob boss telling all of his lieutenants, the family would be doing far better if my ex-wife was just out of the way. He's not telling you to do anything to her, but everybody understands what the fuck he's saying. Everybody understands he's basically giving you an order to take his ex-wife out. That's what's happening here, is when he's saying networks that are speaking negatively of me, they shouldn't have a license. Does he have to actually tell them? I mean, so he's giving an order without giving an order. And that's why I said if the Democrats win the midterms, this shit's going to come up. Because the notion that Jimmy Kimmel and these folks said something bad and so the employer has the right to fire him. No, you see him right here telling them what to do. And this is in addition to what we played earlier, where it was pretty clear the fix was in for Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, he came out and admitted he was trying to get Jimmy Kimmel. Stephen Colbert pointed it out that he said, right after he fired Stephen Colbert, he posted on social media, Jimmy Kimmel is next. That was 2 months ago. So the fix was in for Jimmy Kimmel long before anything happened to Charlie Kirk. So the idea that this has to do with him, Disney firing him just because he said something across the line, that ain't true. And I think everybody can see that. Will G says, Charlie Kirk only brought people face to face to be divisive and bring the jackasses out. Damn. Even more, there were no real arguments. Trump always want to want. He just did silence criticism. Okay, I don't understand what you're saying that last part. Trump always wants to what he just did silence criticism unfairly. I don't the way you read this kind of, but you are correct. He unfairly silenced those who are being critical of him, and he's stating it. He's stating it there that if you're speaking critical of him, you should have your FCC license pulled. I mean, he's on video saying that, so it's pretty clear that Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, he's on record saying Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers should all be next. Come on now. And it got nothing to do with what he said in the network firing him because he went across the line. No, Trump is involved in that. Let me continue on with the program, though. Tap the screen, get us on up to 130. Going to the box. If it works, looks like the box is kind of acting weird here. We'll try it again. I got the devices kind of, remember the old hourglass on the Windows 95, 98? Okay, there we go. Took a minute to come up there. Continuing on with Denkow. Good evening, Denkow. Welcome to the program. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good evening. Jimmy Kimmel just crossed the line and employers have a right to fire him. What say you?
Look, it's kind of like trying to explain something to a brick wall to some of these MAGA. You have shown the man say on video that these people should have their license revoked because they talk bad about him. Yeah. We now have the interview with Brandon Carr, the guy who he appointed to the FCC, who said they're going to have to do something, or we're going to have to do this the hard way, or the easy way, or the hard way.
Yeah. He said we can either do it the easy way or the hard way. Yeah.
And he had the nerve to say it was some of the most disgusting things he's ever heard on network TV.
That's the problem is they might have had even though we still wouldn't have believed it, but they would have had a better case of plausible deniability if they weren't going around saying this shit. I mean, they're making it clear we're involved in why this dude got fired. If they had just kept their mouths shut, let's let Disney do it, and we'll just tell people it's because of what he said. But because they're going around on TV making it clear that people who speak ill of them should lose their licenses and shit like that, it's pretty obvious they were involved in it. They can't stop running their mouths. They're not even trying to hide what they're doing.
Yeah, and literally threatening their merger on a far-right podcaster show. You can't make this shit up.
Well, but that does show you... That does kind of show you the power of President Trump, where they don't even feel like there's going to be any kind of accountability for doing this stuff anymore.
Yeah, but we already know it. And so for them to be trying to come up with excuses for them when everybody knows what the hell is happening. We're not even guessing. We're showing you where he said the shit was going to happen. But they say, well, he wasn't as funny as he was. Those dudes was doing the same thing back when he was the president the first time.
Yeah. I don't buy into. Yeah, I don't buy into the notion that they got rid of him because he's not funny or he's not making money. The timing is too fucked up. I mean, because there's all kinds of things they could have did. They could have done like Jon Stewart. They could have reduced him to 1 or 2 nights a week and put a lesser paid comedian on. They could have reduced staff. I mean, there's a million things they could have did other than just going straight from your working to your fire. So I don't buy the notion that he's unprofitable or he's unfunny, so we must fire him today. All happening right alongside when Trump is in office saying stuff.
Right, and then using whether the person is funny or not as some kind of, excuse. Well, he's not just not funny. Like, I liked him, but I don't like him now, so he should be fired. Like, what? I couldn't even imagine having a conversation with you like that when I'm sitting there kind of revealing my hypocrisy on the spot. But they feel no shame, no remorse, no nothing. Like right now, he's sitting there saying to himself, like, yeah, I really tore Handsome up on that one.
I mean, that's why I asked the question to many folks watching is that if Kamala Harris or Joe Biden had won the presidency, do you think these dudes would be getting fired? I don't believe it. And by the way, if Kamala Harris or Biden was in there, they would. Trump makes for a lot more material because he's on TV all the time. Even with Biden or Kamala Harris in there, they would be less funny because it would be less shit. And I still think they would be on the air. They're being taken off the air because of Trump. It ain't got nothing to do with them being less funny or the network's not making profit.
Right. And what they fail to understand, and they keep using these situations, they're like, well, what about South Park? What they got to do is what Trump does is he uses the leverage of these companies trying to expand. So he couldn't do it because ABC wasn't trying to expand until now. Now that he knows that he needs to be approved for the merger, now he can extract something from them.
Yeah.
He did that with the other company. He's saying NBC is next, but I don't know if they have any plans on doing mergers or not. They don't have to do anything right now, but when they need some government okay is when Trump will pounce.
Yeah.
And that's when it will happen.
Yeah.
And what happened with South Park is they had literally signed South Park to their new contract within the same week that they were getting their approval, a merger approval from the government. So Trump didn't have enough time to react to say, don't let South Park get in there.
And that's where the problem is. And real quick before I say this, James Baller, I think it says the delusion is deep in this channel. Give me something to work with. If you see in the channel as delusional, let me know what the hell you're talking about so I can tackle it. Your comment doesn't say shit. But yeah, in regards to these mergers, that's where I said I think that if there is a victory, a significant victory by the Democrats in the midterms, the Trump administration is going to be in trouble, because if two companies are merging and U.S. president have the ability to make this merger happen or not, you don't get to be involved in all this shit trying to get personal gain out of it. I mean, as long as they're not doing something that's harmful to the nation, like the Washington Commanders, you want them to change their name back to the Redskins, so you're threatening their merger because they don't give the name you want. You shouldn't be involved in that. I mean, I think that kind of stuff is where he could likely get impeached again. Like when we're talking about all of these mergers where, okay, for the merger to go through, you got to fire Stephen Colbert or you got to fire Jimmy Kimmel. And if Trump is up for some type of impeachment or whatever, and they put some of these folks from these companies on, in before Congress where they're now dealing with the penalty of perjury and shit like that, some of them folks are probably going to come out and admit, yeah, we didn't want to get rid of this guy. This is what he was telling us.
The other FCC person, not the chairman, but she's on the board, she came out and said that. She was like, when they had the board meeting, she said, we didn't think what he said was that bad.
Yeah.
But there was the chairman, Brandon, or whatever his name is, Brandon Carr, was the one who then went on this far-right podcast and started talking about it was so bad that they're going to have to do something. And if they don't do something, we're going to do something. And we have the means to be able to correct this problem so they can do it the easy way or the hard way.
I wondered did she still have her job if she did some shit like that.
Well, he's just the chairman can't fire the people on the board. Like, he's just like the speaker for all of them. Just like the Fed, Powell can't just fire somebody on the board. He's just in charge. He's just the mouthpiece, basically.
Okay. But then she would make a good person to call up. Like I said, if they have you testify before Congress, she was in that meeting. She would make a good person to come up.
She will be. And the other people that were in there. And they will pull that interview he made. They will timestamp it. They will put all of this stuff together. Like you said, when the Democrats get back in power, and they will, contrary to what MAGA believes, because Trump is and will continue to keep digging his hole.
But Trump's gonna be fine. Though, look, the guy is 80-something years old. He's president.
Not him.
Yeah, it's the folks it's just like the first term. It's gonna be the folks that surround him. He'll be fine. He's gonna ride off into the sunset and die an old man with a bunch of money. But people who are riding with his policies and legislation, them the ones that are gonna go down.
Right. And he's doing this stuff, and now, with this stuff that he's doing with TikTok. Giving the company to Larry Ellison, making him the biggest social media, mogul in the history of the world. with this, and along with his other stuff, and then creating a board.
Don't know what just happened to my device, folks. Hang on a second. One of my devices, TikTok thing just dropped. I don't know if TikTok banned me or something or what the hell just happened. It says resume live. I don't know why did it stop. I'll hit resume. Let's see if everybody's still here. Are you there? Dencal, are you there?
Yes.
The thing just reset. I never had that happen before. Maybe Trump just tuned in. Is Trump tuned in? Mr. President, are you there? We were talking about how great you've done for the country, sir. How you doing, Mr. President?
You sound like you're supposed to be like, yeah, we love to shop at the TikTok shop.
I don't know what just happened. My whole thing reset, so I don't know if somebody from the White House tuned in, but
it just flipped the whole picture on us too. Like you was on the left and it just changed it to the right for me. I don't know what it did for everybody.
Yeah, let me flip it back. We were just talking about how it's the greatest economy we've seen in the history of this country, and you're a wonderful guy, and we like what you're doing for the memory of Charlie Kirk, sir. So if you're listening, give us a follow, sir.
I'm sure between the words I use about TikTok, Israel, that kind of stuff, Larry Ellison, I'm sure all of that stuff is probably triggering to the algorithm. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, this stuff that's going on. There's a lot of people. I don't know if it's enough people to make a difference, but a lot of people like myself, I already got rid of my Disney Plus and Hulu. Like I'm not gonna keep on, providing funding for these people who are doing this stuff that's against the Constitution.
Well, I heard a lot of people are getting rid of their. I've heard Disney is losing a lot of customers behind this.
Right, and a lot of people, I'll get at you maybe through YouTube or pick or something else, but once it transfers over to American ownership, I won't be on TikTok no more. Like it's just not. Like I'm not playing along with this fucking game that they doing. Where now they starting to talk shit about, well, they got a framework of a deal when he done came out and said, we got a deal, because he comes out front on everything he talks about and says, we got a deal nailed down. Now they talking about, we got a framework and we looking at this and that. Like, I just don't trust none of this shit. I enjoy the app. I enjoy getting on here talking to you guys and talking about, world events and stuff. But all of this, they giving the company to Larry Ellison, and they gonna have, these top.
They're getting paid. I get why you don't trust them. I mean, every deal Trump is involved in, he's getting something out of it, and people close to him are getting. I mean, they're getting paid off all this. Just like the tariffs, they made a fortune off those tariffs. I mean, I'm pretty sure they did. Whether it is telling people when to buy and sell shit, or even telling countries, maybe I could cut your tariff by 2% if you buy some Bitcoin. I mean, they're getting paid. Everything Trump is doing. Trump is what people say a master negotiator. We want a guy to run the country like a businessman. Well, what do businessmen do? They focus on profit. The guy running your country is focused on making a profit, and that's. I don't think he's involved in anything where he's not getting getting paid off of it.
Except for all of those deals he's doing all overseas in the Middle East with his sons at the helm. Yeah. Like he done did the deal with Qatar, got them to give him a jet and everything, and then he just turned around and let Israel bomb the shit out of him.
No shit. That is a good point. He received a jet from Qatar. Israel decided to assassinate somebody within their borders, and Trump obviously didn't stop it. The same guy talking about he could stop wars if he was president. You just let the country that gave you a free fucking jet get hit by one of your closest allies. You can't stop shit.
We literally protect Qatar with our Patriot missile systems and the Iron Dome shit. That shit had to be turned the fuck off for them to fly over there with 15 fucking, F-35 jets and shit.
That's a great point. I know somebody else said the same thing. Thank you for pointing that out. I didn't even think about that, but that is a great point. Is Trump going around bragging that he could stop wars and they would never have happened under him, and yet the one group gives you a jet worth $400 million, and then Israel, who really the only ally they have at this point is America, and they've admitted that they told Trump before they struck that they were going to do it. Like, okay, you are the only person that could have stopped. Why would you let somebody that gave you a jet get bombed? I mean, so yeah, it makes it clear that Trump can't stop shit.
while they're literally building like a resort over there in Qatar. Like it's just look, this dude is doing some of the craziest shit with our allies. Now they talking about now the Israeli officials come out and say, yeah, now they started their last offensive. They're gonna go in there and clean out Gaza, and now they're gonna do joint ventures with America, and this is gonna be a great real estate bonanza is what they call it.
Yeah, it was a far right Israeli politician that said that. He said that it's going to be a great real estate bonanza, and he said that we've done the destruction. Now we just got to clear the stuff out. And he said there are rebuilding plans on Trump's desk. So they're taking Trump's. We're going to rebuild it, make it the Riviera of the Middle East. Apparently, they're taking that seriously. I mean, listen.
Can you imagine the streets and the buildings with his name on it?
Well, there will be. I mean, they have a town in Israel already named after Trump, don't they?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
That will happen, but here's the problem: if Israel takes over Gaza and does that and kicks all the Palestinians out, that will probably be one of the most unsafe places to be in the world in terms of terror attacks. People will always be trying to hit that area because France and the UK and most NATO member states even are saying they recognize the Palestinian state. So that is our place, and you guys done fixed it up and made it look fancy. Kicked us out and we're living poor somewhere. That place will always be a hot spot.
It will. But, I can always try to put myself in other people's position. He's probably telling them, look, we're going to give you a mini edition of the Iron Dome. You'll be safe. There'll be so much to kill. You know how people do.
Yeah.
It don't take a rocket scientist.
Well, like I said, in my opinion, that would be one of the most unsafe places to be in terms of terror attacks. I mean, there will always be people. Of course, if they're going to make the Riviera of the Middle East, it ain't going to be a whole bunch of Israelis working those poor-ass jobs over there. They're going to have to bring some Muslims in and do that cheap labor. And some of them are going to be people that go boom in the night. So, eventually it's going to happen.
They will resort. They have done it in the past where they have boomed themselves on different occasions when they felt like they had no other alternative. This will be one of those times.
Yeah.
It may take them a minute to regroup and figure out how to do it, efficiently or whatever, but it will be the hottest spot. And I don't know that they will reap as many benefits of trying to turn it into the French Riviera because people will not be there for relaxation and fun.
No.
You will be on a swivel.
And I could not imagine because most of the region, I think just about every country in the Middle East recognize the Palestinian state. So, you got Israel there doing this to them, and every country in every direction believes that this is wrong. All you need is just somebody from any of these countries. You're going to have a whole lot of state sponsors of terror, too. Iran would probably back whatever boom you want to do in that area. I wouldn't doubt if the Saudis even backed it. So the idea of walking around the Riviera in the Middle East, I would not want anything to do with that shit.
It's bad enough that every time I've been to Israel, you have to check the political scene there, and it I forgot what that organization for the government, the State Department, they put out a statement about the political tensions in the area and stuff and so even before all of this stuff, whenever you went into those regions, you had to worry about, whenever you
shit happening.
The nativity, if you go to the scene, the nativity where Jesus was supposedly born at,
right?
You have different factions of different religious groups all out there because they share the same belief, but they all they have maybe difference in different sect or whatever. So you might have the Lebanese over here in the corner. They military. You look over here, you got the Israelis. You look over there, you got the Syrians, and it's all of these different groups because they all protect these religious sites because
and then Trump moved the embassy to what, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, I don't know. He's to me he's part of the division in that region.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Some obviously the a lot of the Jewish people they like him because he's siding with them in whatever they do. Yeah. And so they're angry about October 7th. I get it. But a lot of them are starting to march, and they are upset about this because they know, just like we know, what comes along with removing or exterminating a whole group of people. They were a part of that at one time. So they know what comes with it and the hatred that's going to come from all different directions.
It's going to be terrible. I got to move it on, no, Dencal, but yeah, that's going to be like that for the rest of our life. If they take their land, that will not be a safe place to be for the rest of our natural lives and beyond. Dencal, appreciate it.
I just want to say one more thing to MAGA Reacts. He was talking about, or that Jeremy, one of them, same thing. They was talking about how the network that they're trying to merge so they can be profitable again. Everybody knows that network TV will never be profitable like that again.
Right.
Streaming,
too much competition.
All of this stuff, AI,
too much competition.
all of these different things. And so the only way it can be profitable is if you own all of it. And that's what these companies are doing. They're trying to buy up all of the local stations so they can control the marketing, and all of that stuff. So all of this is a big money grab. So him talking about they doing it and they getting rid of the people that's not funny and all of that stuff. That's got nothing to do with it.
Even what we're doing. Normally on a Friday night you'd be watching Knight Rider or TJ Hooker. You're watching me. So there's competition everywhere. I gotta move it on, Dencal. I appreciate it though, man.
All right, take care.
You too. All right, real quick in the comments. He's right. TV will never be as profitable as it used to be. You got way too many options. I'm Gen Xer. I'm a Gen X guy, so I can even remember before Fox Network, not Fox News, but before Fox came on air, because Fox came on air with Tracy Ullman. I believe it was Married with Children and Cops, I think, were their original shows. And then The Simpsons spawned off of Tracy Ullman because there was a little cartoon bit in there, and then The Simpsons and stuff. But I mean, when we came up, it was 3 networks: ABC, CBS, and NBC. I think PBS, if you lived in a big city, that was it. ABC, CBS, and NBC, and you had PBS. And then of course the UHF channels had a few things up in there or whatever that was, worked out with your local area too. But for the most part, when you got everybody forced to only choose between, less than 5 channels, the ratings are going to be huge on those channels. But 2025, you got hundreds of channels you can choose from. And that's just on your streaming cable, outlets. You also got a bunch of, folks like us, amateurs that are all over. I mean, there's just so much more you can watch that, there's no way, because people often compare Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, and these folks, and they say they're not funny. Stephen Colbert, they'll never be as funny, or they never had a ratings as people like David Letterman or Johnny Carson. Well, Johnny Carson didn't have nowhere near the competition. Johnny Carson had, I don't even know if there was another night show on when Johnny Carson was on TV. I think he was it. Now, Johnny Carson got replaced by Jay Leno, and then he was competing with David Letterman. But it's still only 2. There's probably 6 or 7 of these guys on now at the same time. So you're never ever going to get the ratings that they used to have. It's just way too much shit on. But when Johnny Carson, who was before Johnny? There was somebody before Johnny Carson. Was it Ed Sullivan? I forget who was before him. But you don't have any competition. It's pretty easy to do very well when everybody has to watch you. So I don't know why people keep saying that. You need to pull up 7 Mountains Mandate. But wait, I'd like to know what that is. I don't know what that is. Jacob, I don't care what happened. Just the reaction. It's shocking because I need to get mad when they try to silence conservatives. Well, if you're going to get mad, Yoruba man said about when they're silencing conservatives, but you're totally okay with silencing liberals or Democrats, then you're okay with it. You're okay with getting rid of free speech. You just want it done for your side. Trump is clearly trying to silence liberals. So you're either for free speech or you're not. It sounds more like you're for my speech. I don't want you silencing my speech, but you can do it to them all you want. What Trump is doing is a clear-cut violation of free speech. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So you're in favor of my speech. Somebody says, because Gutfield is hilarious. Greg Gutfield is, I think he is he is doing very well in terms of ratings, but I'm going to tell you, I don't necessarily know if it's that Greg Gutfeld is hilarious, and I'm not saying he's not funny. I think Greg Gutfeld is benefiting from the same reason why I just stated Johnny Carson benefited. You don't have as many options. Most of the night show people are liberal. Greg Gutfeld is one of the very few options you get if you're a conservative. So the conservative viewers, I mean, how many people voted for Trump? 77 million or whatever the case may be. So if you're a conservative and you're up and you want to watch late night television, Greg Gutfeld is kind of your only option. So it ain't that he necessarily has to be very funny. He's going to get far more viewers than the other guys because they all got to share all of that shit. Fallon, Colbert, and Kimmel are all on at the same time. So the Democrats got to go all over the place, or the independents. Whereas Gutfeld is kind of doing it by himself. So Gutfeld is going to do better because he don't have a lot of competition, just like Johnny Carson did. Somebody says Gutfeld is not funny. He leans right. I just say it like that. He leans right. I watch him on the 5, and I mean he does say things that are funny sometimes. I don't think it's that Gutfeld is not funny. I think he's funny, but blind, just like if you're blindly defending liberals, the right is not going to like that. If you're in favor of pronouns and all that, the right is not going to like that no matter what kind of joke you use. If you're blindly defending Trump, the left is not going to like it. And Gutfeld does that. He's going to defend Trump no matter what Trump does. He knows where his bread and butter comes from. MAGA don't want comedians making fun of Trump, but they were okay with making fun of Biden. 100% true. 100% true. I can tell you this. I believe liberals could do exactly what MAGA did to liberals during, whether it's Sleepy Joe, posting pictures, some of the stuff Trump did on the internet with tweets and stuff like that, and MAGA would have a big problem with that. Whereas when Trump was doing it, it was funny. You can't take a joke and things like that. I just want to say Trump to me fits the definition of a snowflake. He don't let stuff roll off his back. He gets in his feelings pretty easy. The executive producer of O'Reilly Factor says Jesse was the stupidest person he ever met. Well, that's interesting that would happen because Bill O'Reilly's the one that brought Jesse Waters on there. Jesse Waters used to be kind of an intern for Bill O'Reilly. I'm Jesse, and this is my this is my world or something like that. He used to do, and Jesse Waters was kind of doing a lighter version of Charlie Kirk. He would go around and stick a microphone in liberal faces and get them to prove their ignorance with certain questions. He was kind of doing the Charlie Kirk thing. And of course, he started getting bigger pieces on the O'Reilly show. And then once O'Reilly went away, I think they ended up putting him on a 5 after Eric Bolling got caught up in a Me Too or sexual scandal, because Eric Bolling had that spot. I think he's on Newsmax or something now, but Eric Bolling was there with Kimberly Guilfoyle at the time, and both of them got kicked off for sex scandals, but Eric Bolling, they needed somebody to replace him. So then Jesse Waters got the spot in the center on the 5, and that's where he's been. And then, of course, he now has a night show. Who did he replace? It was O'Reilly. He didn't replace, it was O'Reilly, Megyn Kelly, and Sean Hannity. He's in the 8 o'clock spot. I forgot who was there before Jesse Waters. I can't remember, but I watch a lot of Fox. Let's put it that way. I know their whole lineup. I've been watching them for years. He replaced Tucker Carlson, right? Another person that was kicked off the network for doing crazy shit, right? That's who Jesse Waters replaced. Tucker Carlson had that slot. And I think Tucker Carlson was put in that slot after O'Reilly left in 2017 when he got caught up in the Me Too scandal. So, and there's a lot of people that left Fox because of that. Kimberly Guilfoyle got kicked off for that kind of shit, passing around sex emails and shit. I mean, all of them do. Anyway, let me go back to the show. Have none of you known basic knowledge of life? Please, I know I don't mind the insults and criticism, but if it comes with nothing we can work with, Sean, it's useless. I mean, what you're saying doesn't say anything. You got to have faith in yourself. What the hell does that mean? But keep defending them. Pick me up, Florida. I don't know what that means. Let me go back to the box. Human nature prevails. Yeah. Well, Fox News, as I always bring up that I went out there when they invited me to Fox News to co-host a show back in 2015. The women are gorgeous at Fox. I went into that building. I ended up meeting, what is the girl's name? Damn, she's fine as hell too. A lot of them are gorgeous. I cannot think of this girl's name, but it'll cut. She's a dark haired girl. Man, I cannot think of her name, but I met her because she's like, you're a big man. I met her. I met the late Alan Combs. They gave me the Bill O'Reilly and all because it was in the daytime. I didn't get a chance to meet O'Reilly, but I got a tour of his studio. Not Megan Kelly. She also was attractive, but she's blonde. I cannot think of this. Somebody Banderas. What is her first name? Something Banderas. I cannot think of her name, but she's really attractive. I met her in person because she was there. It was on a weekday, but I met her. Not Antonio. That's an actor. That's a male actor. I cannot think of her name, but something Banderas or something like that. I met her. Tom Sullivan was there at the time. So was John Gibson. John Gibson had the big story that got replaced by the Glenn Beck show, which ended up getting replaced by the Five, and the Five has been at that spot ever since. But that's how, like I said, I've been there and I've known Fox for a long, long time. Anyway, in fact, I saw Michael Bannon walk in. Got a chance to say hi to him. He's the doctor of the forensic sciences. He used to have his show on HBO. Geraldo was there at the time, who ended up taking me off air, and they put Geraldo on because they had a terrorist attack in Paris that day. And Geraldo's daughter happened to be in Paris. So I co-hosted a radio show, Fox News radio show with Tom Sullivan for about an hour and a half, and then they had that terrorist attack break out in Paris. And they took us off air because Geraldo was upstairs in the building and they wanted to hear from him because his daughter was in Paris. But anyway, it's been years ago. Looking in the comments here quick, that's right. All you want to do is fist fight. You have no brain. You guys challenging each other in my comments. Damn. Oh my goodness. Now, I can't pronounce the name, but somebody says Wu-Tang said it best. Protect your neck. That's cold. That is cold. Anyway, continuing on. Julie Banderas, that's her name. Julie Banderas. She's really attractive. She's really good looking. Let me go ahead and continue on with the program. Julie Banderas, that's who I'm talking about. I run with scissors. Good evening. Welcome to the program. How's you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Somebody said the Fox News stuff is not impressive. It ain't meant to be impressive. It's what happened. How you doing? Okay, so what do you think? You're getting rid of Jimmy Kimmel now, right after Stephen Colbert. Why is he able to do this without folks realizing you're censoring free speech?
Oh, well, I think because people are just afraid of him. I mean, but it is a clear violation, right? I mean, he is absolutely leveraging the power of government to influence industries that he has no business in, like you said, with like the commanders, not letting them get their loan or their permit to build. I mean, he's just doing it all over the country, and that's why I think the left continues to call him a dictator, or at least a wannabe dictator, because he sure is very comfortable doing a lot of dictator type shit.
The right doesn't see any of this at all, though. I remember, sisters, they don't see this. The right is saying that this guy is just trying to make this country great again and bring us back to the golden age. They're not seeing this. Why do you think that is?
So here's the thing. I think that at this point, I think MAGA is kind of like, in a way, there is some people who are self-reflecting, because more than ever before, on MAGA lives and within the MAGA sphere, on like especially TikTok, you're hearing more and more people who voted for Trump saying that there's more and more things that they dislike or don't support that he's doing, even though they might still like not be able to verbalize that they regret their vote last November. There's still a lot more instances of them coming out and saying that's something I don't agree with. That's something I don't agree with.
They're saying this stuff that they don't agree with, but as you rightfully point out, they would still support him. In fact, now I don't expect Trump supporters to see Trump doing things they don't like and say, I wish I had voted for Kamala Harris or Biden. I don't expect that. But even out of the 9 conservatives that ran against Trump, the Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, the Tim Scott, they still would have voted for Trump over those folks. Even now that they've seen this, they still would support him.
Yeah, and I think that's where the Democrats really need to kind of like, the opposition needs to do a little bit better job of introspection and then strategy, because there is a real opportunity here to really point out that like Trump is attacking, foundational elements of our Constitution and of our country regarding like the First Amendment. One thing you do have to credit Trump for is educating millions of Americans of what posse comitatus means and habeas corpus, because no other president before
tried to take it away.
Or posse comitatus being you can't use the military for domestic policing, right? Like
why the hell? You're right. Why the hell are so many Americans favor this? Sending the military into place, sending the Marines into Memphis and shit like that. Why does MAGA favor that?
I think because they're fed up with the inaction of government to solve the problems of immigration, and it'll show because Trump hasn't solved it either. Like he's decreased the amount of people crossing the border, and he's getting people out that he doesn't want or that he deems undesirable. But he hasn't passed any legislation that's going to systemically change this or improve immigration. And I think again, Democrats and the opposition to Trump really need to be smart and focus on solutions and say, we get that you're frustrated, we get that we've dropped the ball, but here are 10 things that have support of 80% of the American population, and then run on those and say we can't promise to fix everything. We're not the end all to be all. We're not some magic pill, but we got these 10 things where if we do these, if we can get these done, we're going to make this country a lot better. And